Welcome.
Hello.
We're here.
Fuck
Like
this
always.
movie.
Fuck this movie. Not this movie yet. I mean, we don't know if we're gonna say fuck this movie. We'll reveal that
There's a comma in the title.
Yeah. There will be
Feel
some
like it's
fucking of
important
a
to note
movie.
that.
I think.
No spoilers. This movie may get fucked.
You might be referring to our new segment, which I've decided is going to be called "Fuck That Movie."
There we go. Gotta keep it
Yeah,
safe.
and there's no comma.
Keep it safe.
It's just
No,
there's
just
there's
that.
actually an exclamation
Very definitive
at the end.
Very
Fuck this
definitive.
movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Fuck This Movie. To my right, we have the man who makes this all possible, owner and proprietor, Take Action Tattoo and
Hey-o.
Gaming.
John Brown here.
I haven't said your name yet.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I jumped
He
the gun.
draws infinity loops and butterflies on bimbos for a living.
I mean, that's a little harsh, but I do definitely I do
do
that.
you not do that? Okay.
I mean, I do the butterfly part. I mean, that's the other thing's like relative. It's been known to be true sometimes, I guess.
Whoa, John. Sorry, man. I didn't wasn't trying to take shots. Just trying to introduce you, man. Anyway, John Brown.
You did. But yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. I do butterflies and roses and tribal and trees. You know, all the usual stuff you'd expect.
You gotta.
Willem Dafoe tattoos.
Yeah, occasionally I do about 30 to 40% of the time I do cool stuff.
Ooh, what
Yes.
actor do you think you have tattooed the most? Or celebrity? I'll just say, what celebrity do you think
Gene Simmons.
you've
Yeah.
tattooed the
It's
most?
Gene Simmons.
It is
I
Gene
can answer
Simmons.
for him. It's Gene
Yeah,
Simmons.
it is Gene Simmons. I really don't do that many. So for like
He's got one guy that's got like a dozen Gene Simmons tattoos or some shit. A half dozen. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big fan. No, honestly, I don't do so for like portraiture stuff. People like always assume that you have to go to a big city
Yeah.
and you have to go to some big deal guy that is fucking fancy and peacocks around the internet. In all honesty, that's good because I don't actually want to do that shit. So, fuck yeah. But yeah, Gene Simmons takes it for sure.
Yeah.
Seconded by Johnny Depp or Willem Dafoe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's probably the other one, yeah.
Johnny Depp.
What if
makes
we
sense
count
to me.
Jack Skellington
Right. I mean,
as
you know,
being Johnny Depp?
yeah.
Oh,
Now, if
Johnny
you're-
Depp didn't voice
if you're
Jack
talking
Skellington.
It
about-
doesn't matter. You know
Yeah.
that Jack Skellington is just Johnny Depp.
Movie character, absolutely Jack Skellington takes the cake.
God, even
can't-
even if you count the Joker, like the Joker is
yeah.
one character.
Yeah.
I always found that hilarious
Wow.
because there's I'm not a huge fan of the show Family Guy, but I've seen enough of it. There's an episode they always do their like little cutaway scenes after their one-liners, and there was this like cutaway scene, and after they mentioned Jack Skellington, and it was just like Jack Skellington in the cutaway scene, and he goes, "Aha! Fat chicks like tattoos of me," and then it just goes back to the episode. I always think of that when John gives me his John Skellington pitch. So to my left, we have aspiring Criterion collector, and he
Completionist.
moonlights as a window repairman. We'll say,
Yeah.
Mr. Reese Anweiler.
That's
Come on,
me.
Reese.
Hello.
Doing the good work of window repair.
Yeah.
It's important shit.
Fixing screens and scratched sashes everywhere.
It's
Oh,
arguably
it's a
more
hard job.
important than what I do. I mean,
No.
I don't know about that.
You could if you saw the windows I worked with, they're more luxury devices than
Okay.
necessities.
if it's like rich people's windows. Then
Yeah.
Yeah. I myself am past Blockbuster manager and current manager of Egos, Mr. Dustin Holler. Also, fun fact, I am actually named after my mom's favorite actor, Dustin Hoffman.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Dustin Hoffman
Dustin
today.
Hoffman.
Yeah, I definitely have a soft spot for Dustin Hoffman just because I know that. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
Yeah.
But he's also, like, kind of just a good actor. So.
I mean, I was named
Yeah, he's
after
solid.
two baseball players, and I have really little to no interest in baseball. But
Oh.
those are my two favorite baseball players because I'm named after them.
right? Just
Well,
got
they're
that
probably
built in.
retired, Reese.
Oh yeah. I think one of them's dead actually. But.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate for the namesake there. All right. Well, so what have you guys been watching?
You want me to take
Nobody
the lead?
has watched
Right, right.
anything.
No, yeah, we watched some stuff. I watched The Unwelcome or Unwelcome. It's on Shudder right now. It's set in Ireland. It's about goblins.
Oh.
That was interesting. Pretty good.
There's not a lot of goblin films out there.
No, and it's specifically like red cap, so it's like specifically Irish goblins, and you don't see that very often. Solid all the way through. There's one character that is pretty insufferable that you want to be punished for being insufferable, but doesn't get punished for being insufferable, and he like winds up on top of the situation, and it's pretty frustrating. That was the one thing. Really awful Children of the Corn movie. That was bad. Watched that.
Yeah.
Got suckered into that.
It was a contender for the fuck that movie.
It
segment.
was. It was. I was gonna go hard on it, but I'm gonna do something probably more dear to some people's hearts. But
Nice.
it was a movie. It could have been maybe interesting, but they're like, nah, we don't want to do that.
No.
So that's what I watched.
I have watched
Nothing
since
good
the
on mine.
last podcast. I have watched
Lots of shit.
lots of shit.
All
lots
right.
lots of big shit.
All right. Big shit.
And of course, we did watch Asteroid City.
We did
Yeah.
watch Asteroid City,
Yeah, see,
which
that's what I was looking
that's
at.
one of them. Yeah.
Some of the stuff was like 2 weeks ago, so it's like.
So
have
we should
really
probably
not
have a
talked
brief
about that?
conversation about Asteroid City.
Yeah, actually, that does fit. That does fit.
So what did you guys think?
I really liked everything about it, like the aesthetic, the design, the acting. I don't really know how I feel about the story. I thought the story was like, yeah, but I love this everything else. And usually his movies, the story either hits me like right away or it takes a while to kind of.
Yeah, I definitely thought this was. I dug the story a good amount. There were other parts of the other elements that I wasn't as keen on as far as a Wes Anderson film usually goes. Some of the casting, specifically
Oh, John, are we gonna go here?
Tom Hanks, I didn't feel
Yeah.
was a super
Tom.
perfect
Turns
fit.
out Tom Hanks is bad casting according to John Brown.
I'm just in my opinion. I mean, for that particular thing, he was fine. I mean, he wasn't like he was bad or anything. But I did like the story, but it was very weird. There was, I feel like a little bit more going on than there usually is.
Well, yeah, there's kind of two stories going on at once.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe even the fact that it's the filming of the movie and
The television
movie-
program about the play,
Yeah,
which is about the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of there's some really heavy notes throughout too that you can read a lot into. So I dug the story. It was definitely, in my opinion, the quirkiest I've seen, and it's probably on the lower end of my list of Wes Anderson movies. But I do feel like it's one that needs ruminated on, and that might, it might climb for sure. I mean, overall, like as always, they're super satisfying. I think maybe because there was so much going on, that's why it didn't just hit as hard as they usually do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I kind of felt the same way about the French Dispatch.
I haven't seen that one yet. No
That-
spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything. It's just that there's also a lot going on in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I think
You're used to
his-
simple from Wes Anderson, honestly, like the simple storyline.
Yeah, I like
characters.
the dedicated, the immersive experience.
Yeah, like if you
of the
compare it
story.
to Rushmore,
Yeah.
the Life Aquatic, the one we just watched, Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah.
I think it's
They're all pretty like one.
So I haven't
Yeah.
seen French Dispatch, but of the Wes Anderson movies I've seen, which is everything except French Dispatch at this point, I think that it most reminded me of Darjeeling Limited. Like I really had that feel.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was, as always, a super fantastic movie and lots of fun. And it was nice to see some new people added to the crew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was sad
yeah.
to see some of them not there.
Mhm.
In regards to the Tom Hanks thing, I think the character would have felt more natural if it was Bill, but it's okay. I mean,
He
Tom
probably
was
had
still
other
good.
things going on.
He probably did. I mean, he's
Bill Murray and Owen Wilson are the ones I kind of just always want to see in Wes Anderson
Right.
movies.
Yeah.
But fantastic
I agree.
performances, though. Schwartzman was fucking
Oh, he's always good.
always good.
fantastic.
Johansson was fucking
Yeah.
super fantastic, and she's always really good. And it was nice to see her in a role in this movie. So
This was
I
the
like
most
Tom Hanks in it.
unschwartzman-like Schwartzman role. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, he's like finally playing like an adult. Like,
Yeah.
even
well,
with,
see, that's what's funny though,
like
is
he's
because
a parent,
Yeah.
he's playing a guy playing an adult.
Yeah.
Because like the
yeah.
other part of his character,
He's like 24 or something, right?
yeah, is actually like
Yeah.
pretty
Sure,
Jason
sure.
Schwartzman-y.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just think overall it's
The
the least
majority.
Jason
Yeah, yeah,
Schwartzman
for sure.
movie. Whereas I think that the obvious Rushmore is the most Jason
Yeah.
Schwartzman movie
Yeah.
by
Oh,
far.
Yeah.
So
I've only been described that movie, but I would absolutely agree.
Yeah.
You could just see it.
But yeah, I kind of agree. I think right now for me it's the lower end, but also it's disadvantaged by the fact that I've only seen it one time.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
and it definitely is. I think all of his movies tend to get better with rewatches, and I think, especially with as complex as that one is, that it definitely deserves it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
All right. What else you got on your list?
I mean, oh man, the stuff I watched. We could just fill an episode with each one. I watched Seven Samurai, which was badass.
Oh yeah.
super badass.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was super horny.
I thought that movie was kind of like meh.
Yeah, I loved it though. It was pretty
Yeah, I don't know that you actually. I don't know if I believed you.
good. I bet you would like it too as an artist because it's almost like someone like an artist falling in love with.
It's what you just said that I didn't like about the movie. Is that like I feel like you're supposed to love it because it's art, kind of a thing.
Right,
Kind of
some,
went by the wayside
like a
for
default
me.
degree
Like,
of pretension.
I don't think it was like I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was anything special. That's where I'm at with it.
I think it's like really interesting as both a love story and like a love story to art because it's very much an artist falling in love with their subject,
Right.
like because it's their subject, you know.
Right. Yeah, it could be interesting.
It's like
I'd
the
have
passion you have to
Right.
really give your soul to a piece of art. You know?
Didn't get there for me, but I appreciate your stance. What else we got?
We saw No Hard Feelings in theaters, which we could talk about more later when we talk about theater.
Yeah, we
The
can.
theater.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. And I also watched Elemental, which
Oh god.
also in theater.
So last week I said that it's about fire falling in love with water, and I
Yeah.
don't know why that wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
So I guess that I was right on the money.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It had
Fire plus water equals.
Hey, it had some good elements.
Some.
But overall, it felt just kind of really lazy.
Was it air? I bet it was air.
Earth was like the least important element in the movie,
Oh,
like by far. Probably because they're not very exciting. to
turns
play
out it's
with.
not actually an element.
It's just clumps of dirt, you know,
Right,
compared to like clouds and fire.
Hey man, that's
and
all a
water.
matter of perspective. Though,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's where they missed the mark. Maybe they should have leaned into Earth.
Yeah.
You know. Or
It's
do that.
not great. But if you want a really good new animated movie, there is one called Nimona on Netflix. It just came out on Netflix last Friday. I don't know. But it's based on a graphic novel, and I thought that one was really fun. It has really good visuals, and like the humor all lands. I really liked.
Is this a family affair, or would I like it too?
It is a family appropriate movie. Yeah.
Okay.
I honestly, I don't think you would watch it. You would like it, but I bet if you watched it with Molly, I think she would love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell her to watch it with that.
And there's a chance you will appreciate it.
Okay.
I thought
Maybe
that
I
was
will.
great. I think people should check that out. Skip any animated movie. No, just skip Elemental and watch Nimona instead.
Okay. So don't go to the theater.
Just
Stay
this
home
once,
and watch
just
Netflix.
this one time.
Yeah.
Elemental's been out like a month, so you're not going to be hurting the.
What about
body.
the crabs or whatever? The kraken, teenage krakens, isn't that like a thing?
Yeah, I don't.
I
remember
bet
what
you
it's
that's
called.
bad. It looked bad.
It's a new DreamWorks movie. I'm not interested. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Poor
Yeah,
DreamWorks.
it doesn't sound super interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
What,
yeah,
else,
good
what else
shit.
you got? You got anything else? Because I got a bunch of shit.
I got a lot of smaller, less interesting stuff, but that's the gist. Those are the big ones.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rattle off a bunch. And
Oh,
I'll
one more
go.
thing.
Yeah, go.
There was a short. You know how Pixar movies? Maybe you guys
Oh,
don't know
yeah,
this.
yeah,
They
yeah.
always
Yeah.
have the short film.
Yeah, right. Like before the movie.
Yeah, this one was like a little short spin-off
I saw on Letterboxd you gave it like 1 star. or
of the
something.
old man from Up.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of like half of an episode of a TV show. It was
Right.
really dumb and just so pointless. I was
Oh.
super disappointed by that. Just a bad outing for Pixar all around.
I want to point out before we go to my list, we did all watch Slumdog Millionaire together as
Oh
well.
yes.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I never logged that.
Yeah.
I gotta log that.
And
Completely.
aside
I
from
love
it was
that
my
on my
second
letterbox.
viewing and both of your first.
Yeah.
And aside from a horrendous like Bollywood style dance routine at the like with the end credits,
It was so
it's
much-
actually like a really fine film. Like
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
really
it's
solid.
it's really good. But
Yeah,
like
it's really good.
I don't know. I was saying after we watched it, I'm like, I don't know how I don't remember that. And you guys are like, because you probably shut it off because it was over. I did. That was the answer.
It
like,
fully has no bearing on the plot.
So
no, it was just
it's just like
it was a lot.
Somebody involved with the movie was like, we really need a dance routine. I'm going to send you all the dance camp.
And so you said that it was an American production, right?
It was Danny Boyle.
Danny Boyle. I think he's British.
Okay.
But yeah, it was not a Bollywood production.
Right. Yeah, I feel like maybe
it
they
was
were
definitely
just,
a Bollywood ending.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they were just looking
not
at all
ending,
the,
just
the,
credit scene.
the Indian cast, and we're just like, hey guys, you feel like dancing?
Yeah.
Of course, they're like, well, yeah, we feel like dancing. That was
why wouldn't you want to? The movie is also like pretty emotional and dark for most of the time. It involves like child prostitution.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not so bad to have such like a relief at the end of the movie.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, but yeah, it's what you could expect if you're watching. I mean, man, Indian people love to dance. They fucking love it.
So, other shit that I watched After Yang, Colin Farrell movie about AI. Yeah, it was good. It was very good. That was part of the Criterion channel. They have a little feature on AI-based shit right now. Also from Criterion Channel, I watched this movie I actually had never seen was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the original like silent film.
Oh, cool.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Was that in their AI collection as well?
It was not actually. No, that was some other collection. So I watched Some Like It Hot. And so here's the interesting thing. I was talking to Molly, my spouse, and I realized that I had never actually seen any of her movies.
Yeah.
And by her, I mean Marilyn Monroe. And so and she's like, I haven't either. And so we watched a Marilyn Monroe movie, and gotta say, very, very good.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it is very hilarious. I will say, for me, who stole the show was actually Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis is amazing in it.
Yeah.
And Jack Lemmon was actually like kind of just okay for me. Honestly, I thought he was actually the worst part of the movie.
I just always loved Jack Lemmon.
I always loved Jack Lemmon too. That's why it was disappointing. I mean, it wasn't even disappointing. I didn't think his performance was bad. I just thought everybody else was so good. That he kind of. Everyone else kind of shone through him. But off of your recommendation while watching today's feature, after we were done watching the feature together, you brought up another movie, Manchester by the Sea.
I wanted to watch that with you.
Well, I watched it last night. We can still watch it. John, have you seen Manchester by the Sea?
No.
You know what? I would totally be down to watch that with you guys. It is one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it is like talk about a guy who's like broken.
Yeah.
This is a movie about a guy who's broken,
Right.
and there's
like utterly.
there's like no fixing it. Like it took the whole movie for spoilers, John. It took the whole movie for me to realize that you just can't fix this motherfucker. He's broken.
Yeah.
Still solid fucking movie. I also watched.
But did you understand why?
We did a double feature. We did a double feature because before we watched that movie, we watched Gone Baby Gone.
Oh, you're just doing the whole run of Casey Affleck.
Yeah, we did a Casey Affleck double feature.
We watched Assassination of Jesse James like a few weeks ago. That's
Gone
like
Baby
his
Gone,
trifecta.
It's like a missing little girl drama.
Yeah, that's the one that Gene, when we were talking about it the other day when I was tattooing on.
Yeah, and she said it's not a good movie.
It's terrible. I'm like, just
yeah.
you
So,
see child abuse. That's why. But it is a good movie.
Yeah, it's a super.
Have you seen that one, John?
Yeah.
So the thing I loved about that movie actually is like I actually don't like those movies. The whole like you start describing what the movie's about immediately. I think Lifetime Channel.
Yeah.
But the thing that distanced it was like spoilers, people. Maybe fast forward 30 seconds if you haven't seen Gone Baby Gone and you want to. But the ending where there's like this moral dilemma, like that whole thing, like.
Right.
Would you have done what Casey Affleck did, or would you have done what everyone else expected him to do? You know,
right.
like I love movies that kind of have that question or leave you with that question afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one that I watched along with Manchester by the Sea. I also watched Captain Fantastic.
Oh, super fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, really good
Viggo
movie.
Mortensen,
Yeah,
right?
Viggo
Yeah,
Mortensen.
super
Yeah,
good film.
yeah, really good stuff. I got this Mummy collection that I'd ordered from Amazon, which now I actually have the entire. I have all the original monster movies in this huge
Nice.
Blu-ray box set. But anyway, I watched the original Mummy. I hadn't seen it since I was a little kid with Boris Karloff. Boris Karloff, like, what do they say? His face is like the greatest special effect in the history of horror.
Right.
He's a scary motherfucker. Really good film. And of all the shit that I've watched in the last 2 weeks, I think my favorite. You ever have that movie where like you see a trailer or you hear about it and you're like, man, I really want to see that movie, and then everything you're hearing about it is bad, and so you're just like, fuck, and so you just put it off for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this last one that I have is definitely one of those. Babylon by Damien Chazelle.
Christian Bale.
Oh, the new one.
Yes. No, it is Brad Pitt and
Okay.
Margot Robbie.
Okay.
Really,
Oh, yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
Just
really
last
good
year.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I
it's
remember
like
hearing
3
about that.
hours and 10 minutes, and like it is the most fun 3 hour and 10-minute movie
Yeah,
ever.
someone
Like,
told me it was really
It
good.
really goes by fast.
oh, it really does, because a lot of 3 hour movies kind of run.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, they
by
can drag.
nature, run
Yeah.
slow, and this thing was high paced the entire time.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know why this movie didn't get more fanfare. It is just
It's-
a really cool,
Yeah, I've
fun
been wanting to
movie.
watch
It's
that.
because people get tired of movies that are all about how great movies are. But then it's like you do have to stop and realize that movies are really great. So if you love movies, you are going to enjoy these movies.
Yeah.
But then like a lot of people just don't want to see, oh look, the Oscars are 5 movies that are all about how great movies are. You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to see that.
I didn't really get that feel from this movie. I thought it was like there's a lot about how movies are made that you don't get from normal movies,
Yeah,
which
that-
I
yeah.
actually really enjoy. That
There's
I
like
think
really
that's cool.
interesting information.
Yeah, well, and that's where, like, you know, as a film buff and somebody that's really interested in that art form, you're going to enjoy that. But a lot of people don't give a shit. In today's civilization, in our culture now, people just want the end result. People want a fast delivered piece of entertainment that they don't really give a fuck about anything beyond that. They just want an immediate payoff. And so if there's not an immediate payoff in anything they consume, then they're just a good portion of our society is just like, meh. I
Yeah.
don't give a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
They don't have the patience and they don't have the interest in the foundations of any of the art forms they consume. They just want a payoff
Yeah.
constantly. So
Yeah.
I think that's what that is there.
Yeah, and maybe this movie was a little short on a payoff, but like it was.
Well, and
my whole
that's-
thing is always about like the ride. And
Yeah,
like,
well, and that's
it's got
the
a good
thing.
ride.
That's
Yeah.
the difference. A lot of people, for people that enjoy a craft, enjoy whatever art it is, you enjoy the ride. You enjoy the experience of the craft. That's why, like, for me, like oh, I don't want to give any spoilers. Like, I don't give a shit about spoilers.
Here's
It's about
spoilers.
the experience.
If you haven't seen the movie, start watching it. Me and my wife both loved it. You see somebody get shit on and somebody get pissed on in the first 3 minutes of the movie. Both things happen, and both
Jesus.
things are extremely graphic.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really, really fun. I really liked it a lot. There was one character's, I don't really want to get into spoilers, but there was one character's like ending to his story that I thought was really undeserved and kind of felt inappropriate. And then like the last 5 minutes just felt a little,
Oh, okay.
the last 5 minutes just obviously felt a little masturbatory. Like if it had just been filmed.
Yeah, I kind
Like
of.
famous movie moments, that's one thing. But then to go into a montage of the movie you just played is like, okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's a little rough.
I kind of see where you're coming. I kind of had that feeling where this is about kind of like a rise and fall. So the whole movie is about like the like getting out of the silent era of film and getting into what they called at the time was the talkies.
Yeah.
Which was like when the first time when like films actually had like dialogue.
Yeah. It's basically like the dark and gritty reboot of Singing in the Rain. It's like very
Yeah.
similar to Singing in the
Right.
Rain, but
Yeah,
completely
and there
different.
are a lot of references to Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
But it was there's just something about the way that it's done that I don't know, you know that those actors that had only ever done silent films had a hard time transitioning to some. That's a different kind of acting, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And definitely trying to so it's very much one of those like rise and fall kind of movies, and so all the characters that it's following, which it's a whole group of characters, like they all kind of, you get to see how they come up and then how they all kind of fall down, and maybe. What I think you're getting at, Reese, is like the order in which they present the falls.
Yeah.
Maybe is not the way I would have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely want to check that out. I actually just,
dude, it's a super fun movie.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think
it's
you'll have anyone would have a bad time unless you're just impatient. You know.
Yeah, I heard like the reviews are kind of like not good.
They were mixed.
They're
but
not great. Yeah.
I mean, if you go on Letterboxd, which is like the exact crowd that the movie is made for, it's got
I heard a lot of. I did go on there.
3.8 out of 5.
Yeah,
right?
but I like a lot of the reviews. People are talking about overindulgence, and and it wasn't just talk. It was bitching about overindulgence.
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's
And, like,
the bit though.
It is the bit.
That's the bit.
It is the
Yeah,
bit.
that's
And it's
exact-
fucking
I mean, literally.
spectacular. That's what
Yeah.
makes the movie fun.
Yeah.
It's
That's
literally
what
like
it
people
is.
just like doing drugs and having sex
That's
like,
what
for
it-
3 hours.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I something came to mind that I don't know how I forgot about, but I caught a really cool, super classic slasher horror movie on Shudder the other day called The Burning. That was actually really solid.
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, I think
think
it's a very the director, the special effects guys, I think pretty well known. But I mean, it's a very classic setup of kids at camp getting murdered, but it sets up the villain.
Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it is classic by now. The villain is set up because the kids at camp try to pull a prank on, like, basically a custodian of the camp, and he ends up, like, burning himself alive for the most part. And then it's, like, set 5 years after, and he's released from the hospital after his rehabilitation, and he goes back for revenge. For the time period, lots of really cool, effects for what it was. Just really solid for that genre of film. Definitely something that anybody that loves classic horror should definitely enjoy watching. The youngest I've ever seen, George Costanza. The guy that plays him, he had a full head of hair.
Oh.
He was super surprised. I'm like, oh my god, it's that guy. I can't even imagine. Really solid. It was funny that there was a scene. So the kids get this guy burned alive, and one of the kids at the camp is one of the kids that did the prank is still he's now a counselor at the camp, and there's a scene where he's telling this the campfire horror story, and it's the campfire horror story of basically him causing a guy to be burned alive. He's like, oh, he's still out there. And it was pretty hilarious. He's like, yeah, he is. He's about to fucking kill you. This is great. But yeah, that was good. The Burning. That was a good one.
That actually sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was well done for that genre of film for sure.
All right. Well, speaking of revenge,
Yeah.
I think that brings us to our feature this week, which it was my choice, and I chose In the Bedroom, written and directed by Todd Field, first-time director. And we got together. We watched this movie, guys.
Yeah,
we did. So I was. I don't know. Like I said, it depends when we do the synopsis. I had read a completely inaccurate synopsis, and it's like the first thing that pops up on Google when you look at this movie.
Oh yeah.
That it doesn't even make any sense. They just. I don't know. I think the person that wrote it just read the title and it's like, oh, it must be this.
Yeah. What you were messaging me, is what I said earlier. What it actually said. It said that the dad was
having a love affair.
Oh,
yeah. With
Marissa I hate it when the
character.
people that write the synopsis didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, no, it had to be.
It says that on Google.
Yeah. On one of the first reviews that pop up on Google, the synopsis that pop up, it's right there. It's like I had to message us. I'm like, that didn't happen, right? I'm pretty sure that didn't happen.
That's honestly in the first 10 minutes. That's kind of where I thought this character's going to die, and then this character's going to have an affair with this.
You have that tension building up through the film, but it's totally not there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to read as we always do, the Letterboxd synopsis for In the Bedroom.
And for those
Oh,
who
yeah,
want to
yeah.
go in fresh and watch
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Indeed.
Actually,
Good
I
catch,
had a
Ross.
note
Look at this
here.
guy.
I wanted to say this warning. If you have not seen this movie and you have any interest whatsoever in seeing this movie, do it now. I told these guys, I think that this is one of those movies. The less you know going in, the better for the
sure,
viewing
for
experience.
sure.
So
Yeah. And don't read any Google synopsis.
Yeah,
yeah, don't read any like they're
complete
terrible.
bullshit.
They're terrible, and they're gonna hurt the overall viewing experience. So if you haven't seen it yet, push pause, go watch it, come back, finish the episode.
And if you want to watch it, it looks like it might be streaming on Paramount Plus. Otherwise, it's available to rent and buy in all the normal places: Amazon, YouTube, Vudu, etc.
Right on. So, summertime on the coast of Maine, in the bedroom, centers on the inner dynamics of a family in transition. Matt Fowler is a doctor practicing in his native Maine and is married to New York-born Ruth Fowler, a music teacher. His son is involved in a love affair with a local single mother. As the beauty of Maine's brief and fleeting summer comes to an end, these characters find themselves in the midst of unimaginable tragedy. So
Yeah, that's good and accurate. That's fair enough. Yeah.
It's a fair.
Do you want to read the super cool tagline that
No, I'm not
says?
going to read that. That's fucking rubbish. Actually, I'm actually out. I don't know if these are actual taglines.
I think though the taglines they take from original marketing. They don't just make those up themselves.
Oh god, that's so bad. It's so fucking bad. No, don't read that. Nobody will ever watch the movie if you read the tag. I'm starting to feel that way with all taglines. They're just all marketing and they're all trash.
Yeah.
They just cheapen a movie to a fucking half a sentence. Anyway, this movie it kind of comes out at you as if it's a love story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. It is.
It is.
Well,
It
it
is.
includes a love story.
The
I
first
suppose.
act is a love story.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's-
very genuine, too.
Yeah, very genuine. And yeah, so
Which sets up the tragedy.
yeah. So Nick Stahl plays Frank Fowler. He's a college, getting ready to go to college. He's an aspiring architect.
Yeah.
But at the time being is also a lobsterman or lobster harvester. Like he has a boat and he harvests lobsters, and that's kind of like his side gig to put him through college.
Super quaint, little tiny American town.
Oh yeah.
That incidentally looks exactly like every little tiny town around here. Except
Yeah.
there's
I
more
mean, it looks
water
like Maine.
boats.
I mean, there are no lighthouses, but it's Maine.
Yeah, but I'm just like the structure of the town, the vibe of the
Honestly,
town.
yeah.
Like,
There,
if you go to
could
Mentone,
remake this
Kirsten,
movie in using Warsaw
it
as the
really
backdrop.
could. Like, dude, anywhere
Yeah.
around here.
I do think that there's something to be said for what you're saying there, and I think that's like how genuine like the characters and the interactions
Oh, yeah,
are.
yeah. As a person that grew up in that kind of environment, like you get that feel through this whole
Oh,
movie.
absolutely.
And it
Yeah.
creates a really strong attachment to the experience and the characters.
Yeah, so it starts off basically Nick Stahl's character Frank Fowler, the college level lobsterman, is basically having an affair with Marissa Tomei, who is obviously at the time like probably 10 years older than him.
Yeah,
at
I think
least.
10 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
about
It's
Uh,
really hard to
20s,
say because she just
30s.
doesn't really.
She doesn't age. We talked about this last episode. God, she's so sexy all the time. So Marissa Tomei plays Natalie Strout, who is basically she's estranged from her husband, so she is still married, but she has two young sons, and so like Nick Stahl's character is kind of having like a fling with her, like a summer fling. But as the love story starts to build, we see that he's also got really tight relationships with her two boys.
It's definitely from the scenes that you see. It's expressed as a fling, as an affair, but their interactions do not present that picture. You know, everybody, of course, looking at a relationship.
Yeah, so
young versus old is going to look at it that way, but from the experience, it definitely doesn't seem that way.
Yeah.
So Frank's parents are worried about this relationship.
Of course.
Mom, played by Sissy Spacek, Ruth Fowler. Sissy Spacek is amazing as always.
Yeah, everybody in this film kills.
Oh yeah. Father Matt Fowler, played by Tom Wilkinson, just fucking owned me in this movie. I love his performance in this movie.
Yeah, there's some really powerful scenes.
So Sissy Spacek, her motherly role is like the, like she likes the girl, but loves her son more and is just really afraid that he's going to get into something with her that he can't get out of.
Yeah, and with that small town dynamic, everybody's been talking, and there's this history there. And notable thing too, I don't know if you're going to get to it or not, but the ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband is
William Mapother.
yeah.
Plays Richard Strout, who's Natalie's estranged husband.
Yeah, who happens to be the son of the factory that basically makes this town exist.
Yeah, so
Oh,
there's
Yeah.
I didn't. How did I miss that?
yeah, so
That's
so
how it
there's
gets out of it. So
that's one of the things
Yeah.
I had on my list to talk about was the social class dynamics because so Frank's parents, Matt and Ruth, she is a teacher at a local high school that teaches music, symphony type shit. Tom Wilkinson's character is an MD. He's like a family physician.
Yeah.
So you would say that they're probably on definitely like more of the higher middle class kind of area.
They're definitely set there.
And so Marissa Tomei, by what we see, you would definitely say is more of the lower class. She's a single mother struggling with two kids.
Classic.
And then the fucked up thing is her abusive
A gas
husband.
station, right? Or like like she works at like a quickie mart.
Yeah, she works at a gas station.
Yeah.
And Quickie Mart, nice Simpsons shout out there. So William Mapother's character, Richard, her estranged husband, is this rich kid. And so it's one of those things it's one of those things that's behind the scenes, it's hidden, but it's there.
Yeah.
Is that she had kind of a rich kid husband, but it was so abusive and so terrible that she'd rather, live her own standard of life, which is definitely on the lower social end of the scale.
Right.
So
important.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk about was Frank's relationship with his mother and father. So the mother's really concerned that it's going to get serious. And Tom Wilkinson, one of the great things about this movie is the father-son relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, comes up big here. I love the interactions between Tom Wilkinson and Nick Stahl.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can see where Tom Wilkinson's character kind of has this, like, he kind of approves of the relationship, is almost proud of it. Like, look at my son tapping this hot piece of ass over here.
Well, it goes well beyond that because what I got from it is really that he's the dad, Tom Wilkinson's character, like he, pursued a life of being a doctor. He pursued this lofty goal career-wise, but in all the scenes, when it is those moments of just this nice classic small town American family, he portrays it so well. You see how much he enjoys it. He enjoys every minute of it. He enjoys, the kids, Marissa Tomei's, Natalie's kids. He enjoys the kids. He enjoys the baseball scene that's coming up. He enjoys the whole experience, and you can tell that he's like, to me, I got the vibe of him happy to see, to a degree, happy to see his son, even though, he wants more from he wants his son to pursue and have the best life he can. He still really enjoyed that, like, fundamental experience that maybe, that was his experience growing up. And so he didn't necessarily have a problem with his son maybe going that route.
Yeah.
If he knew his son was really in it.
Well, he seemed like, and it does come up, like they discuss it,
Oh, yeah,
like as we get a little later into it. He and his dad obviously have an open relationship that I don't think really exists, and maybe that's the most unrealistic thing about the movie.
I'm sure some dad has.
Yeah,
that out there.
I've seen it before. But I think it's few and far between.
No,
Yeah.
It is a very endearing thing and really cool to see on the big screen, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think their portrayal was accurate. I think it's probably more, I don't know, I guess it might be, I don't know. I want to say it's more likely that there would be that relationship between a dad and a son versus a son and a mom, but I don't know, I guess it's just relative.
One of the scenes that got me was really early on. They're having like the barbecue.
Yeah.
They've got like a swing set that they put in just for this barbecue for the two kids,
Yeah.
for the little like not so important relationship, and
which is a recurring thing that comes up too.
Yeah.
And Tom Wilkinson's character and his buddies are hanging around at the barbecue, and Marissa Tomei leans over to pick something up, and like one of his buddies is like, "Oh God, I wish I could go back in time and like hit that, and like Tom Wilkinson makes a little joke, and he's like, "Well, I knew you back in your youth, and you didn't have anything like that back in your youth." So
Yeah, there is a vibe of like.
There's like a pride. Like he likes the fact that his son is, you know, like, which I imagine, I'm not a father, but I imagine
even
that
accuses him of at some point in the movie of that, just kind of like not talking his son out of it because
of that.
He was jealous of
which
him,
is just
proud
like
of
such a typical.
which
it's a very typical
we'll
thing
definitely get
for
to that.
that's
one of the most emotional
woman to say.
Yeah, that's one of the most emotional scenes of the movie for sure.
Oh yeah, that's a huge scene. Huge scene.
Do you guys want to guess how old Marissa Tomei was filming this?
19. You know how old I think she is today? 19.
She was 36.
36?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it doesn't even
I actually probably would have guessed older.
Really?
I think her character that she was playing was probably more in her early 30s.
Yeah, and I think like late 20s, early 30s.
But I mean, yeah, Marissa Tomei just doesn't age. We said it in the last episode. She doesn't. God. So, anyway.
She's almost 50? Is that right? No. She's over 50. She's almost 60.
Yeah, gotta be, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Still hot. Hottest grandmother in the world. So anyway, like, we start to, like, this little picnic is interrupted by abusive husband shows up at the wrong place to pick up his kids.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that we see that he's an asshole. Right?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, a slight degree of assholery.
I'll tell you what, William Mapother...
The real reveal is a little bit later.
William Mapother owns this fucking role. I mean, he is creepy. You can't tell me you didn't watch this scene and immediately get creepy vibes from William Mapother.
No, he's also, like, he plays it... I somehow missed that he was the son of, like, the fishing company.
Yeah.
But that he plays it as a very privileged, like... entitled person.
Now, the real revelation for his character comes in a little bit. You get definitely some inconvenient like douche vibes from this scene, but not the full reveal. The full reveal comes very soon.
Yeah.
All right, so this love story, the mother is like basically like trying to get Frank to break up with her because you got to think about college. Like, what are your plans? And meanwhile, he's talking to his dad. At first, he's like, it's not serious. But then you see the two of them together and the way that they're talking to each other, and it seems very serious. He's talking about her kids and like talking about like a joke that her kid had said. And he's like, oh my God, if he's like this already, what are we going to do? You know,
he gives it's this very real conversation with him and his dad, where he flatly lies to his mom pretty early.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, flatly lies. It's like he just doesn't want to give his mom anything, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's also leaving his dad at first with the impression that like he's having a good time, but it's not serious. You know, he even tells the mom like he's not going to marry her if that's what you're worried about, you know.
Right.
And anyway, so they're doing some lobstering, and Frank's dad likes to skip lunch and basically come down to the docks and hang out with his son.
Which definitely, like, that's a big part of what I was talking about earlier, where he's like, he really, I feel like the character, even though he does have this nice, like, doctor status in this community, like, you can tell the dad loves that small town life.
Yeah.
You know, from that. Like, every day he goes to lunch with the son so he can do some fishing. Like, you can tell that he misses a part of that experience from his own upbringing, you know.
And there was even an earlier scene where they do a little lobster expedition out on the ocean with one of Marissa Tomei's sons, and they're kind of just showing him the basics of the ropes of being a lobsterman. And there's a cool little scene, very important, I think, to the movie.
That's where the title comes in.
That's where the title comes in. Yeah. After you guys, you know what's fucked up is I had notes before I watched the movie with you guys, and I had a question planned for this episode that I was going to ask tonight. Yeah. I was going to say, so what do you guys think the title means? But the thing is, we finished watching the movie together, and not 5 minutes after, you guys are like, where the fuck did the title? Like, where did they get the fucking title? Well, it's this scene at the beginning. He's explaining the workings of a lobster trap. And by he, I mean Tom Wilkinson's character, Matt Fowler. he's explaining it to this child, and he's talking about the heads of the trap. They call them the bedroom heads that basically work at the back of the trap and trap the lobsters into where they can't get out. And he's telling him this as he's showing him a lobster that has only one arm or one claw.
Yeah.
And he's like basically saying that, like two's a crowd, and that if you get, multiple lobsters in the same bedroom, then something like this is going to happen.
Great illusion.
Yeah.
Great illusion.
Yep. So, this is basically a metaphor for everything that's going to follow.
And I completely missed it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What were you guys smoking? Were you not even watching this movie? So anyway, so it gets to this point where, the love story is going on, and basically, he finally just is like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, okay. So there's a scene where, Tom Wilkinson's character comes home, and his son basically has gotten the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, which actually, after the scene just before that is actually a really, really good scene.
Oh yeah. By all means, John.
It's a super powerful scene because it's Marissa Tomei and the son there, just kind of hanging out. After the kids have gone to bed, and she's observing him fucking with these blocks.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh well, I've been disregarding this age difference, but the more I keep seeing you playing with these blocks, I don't know, I might have to think more about that." And he's like, No. It's just your son built this, and he built this room, and he explains all the architectural elements of this thing that he built, and it's like, and you can see in Marissa Tomei in that scene, in her character, just falling so madly in love with this kid, because with her whole life being basically, she got with the town guy.
Yep.
And the town guy has presumably been beating the shit out of her the entire time, probably treating her like shit. And the guy's a fucking putz. The guy's fucking worthless. And so she just having this interaction with this kid, and you can tell that she sees this this amount of potential in their own relationship.
And potential's the good word.
Yeah. But at the same time, you can see her in that scene as their conversation goes on. Once it moves past, the conversation about architecture and the potential of her son, you can see her just kind of settle into, and you see her know how bad it can go. And you can see the defeat, the kind of preemptive defeat in the character's eyes of fuck, this might not work. I want this to work so bad. This means so much, but God, there's just something about this situation that's not going to pan out,
Yep. And at the end of that scene, you kind of get the gist that a car is rolling up.
Yeah, the car rolls up, and then it cuts
then it cuts to this next scene, which is where basically Sissy Spacek comes home and sees Dad basically helping son with his beat up face. Tom Wilkinson has some God, please tell me you at least hit him.
Yeah, classic dad shit.
Yeah, classic dad shit. And then there's this little bit of violence here is kind of followed by a thing where basically he says that he's gonna break it off, and not moments after he says he's gonna break it off, he gets a phone call from one of her kids.
Yeah, during a call from a college.
This little phone interview thing he's doing. Basically, he gets an emergency call and splits off, and so he gets to Marissa Tomei's house, and the house is all torn to shit.
Yeah.
She's talking about how he just left, and was basically fucked up, being his usual douchey, abusive self. And so anyway, while they're sitting here talking, trying to get everything put back together, William Mapother's character rolls back up to the house. And so immediately, Nick Stahl locks the door, tells Marissa Tomei and the kids, go upstairs, I'll take care of this, whatever. And she's just like, don't let him in. Anyway, he ends up getting into the house with Marissa Tomei and the kids both upstairs.
Yeah.
And once he gets into the house, you see one shove. And then from this point on in this scene, you are with Marissa Tomei and the boys in the bedroom.
In the bedroom.
In the bedroom.
Yeah.
You are in the bedroom, and it's actually really clever because so you kind of hear the confrontation. You only hear the dialogue.
Yeah.
You don't actually see anything, but you hear a gunshot, and this is all from Marissa Tomei's point of view.
Yeah, you hear a gunshot after she starts to try to move downstairs.
Yeah, she starts to move downstairs when she hears that shit's not going well.
Quite.
Here's a gunshot when she's about halfway down.
Yeah.
And she gets to the bottom of the stairs, and then you see, she sees Frank on the ground. He's been shot in the face.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's
it is
pretty intense.
fucking brutal.
Yeah.
It is fucking brutal.
Yeah.
My whole thought at that moment was like, well, that fucking escalated quickly.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys. I actually saw this movie in the theater. And I don't know how you guys felt watching this. Like, I was shocked. Like, I was really like into this whole love story. I want to know how it was going to work out. And it's like, oh, it's not. He's going to get shot in the face.
That's how it worked out.
And this is the end of the first act. So like, I mean,
I don't know why I knew he was going to die. It was still shocking.
You just felt like going into it, you felt like he was going to die?
Because...
Or just the way that the husband interacted?
Well, it was the fish packing scene with the really ominous music. I was like, okay, something really bad is going to happen.
Yeah. No, actually, the intro scene.
Yeah, it's the credit scene. Yeah. It's not the first scene in the movie because the first scene is.
No, there was a good use of like subtly ominous music in this movie.
And then like the very following scene is like the barbecue or whatever.
Yep.
And then it's like their interaction, and then I was like, oh shit. That's when literally I thought he's going to die, and then while consoling Marissa Tomei, Tom Wilkinson is going to fall in love with her, and that's why it's called In the Bedroom. That was what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was all completely wrong, except for he did die.
Yeah, he did die. He does indeed die.
Tom Wilkinson did try to console her.
Yeah,
a little bit. But.
And so this is one of those second act switches where like the whole first act, they're trying to set it up as if it's a love story, like almost like Romeo and Juliet style, like it can't work, but maybe it can work kind of a things.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
It don't work.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden it's like, wait, here's the real story. And this is where we find out this movie is actually about the parents. This movie is actually about Tom Wilkinson, Sissy Spacek, Matt and Ruth Fowler. And dealing with a tragedy.
Yeah.
And I was actually pretty shocked by how little Marissa Tomei was in the second half.
Yeah. But when she was in, though, it was still still really good. Really good.
Oh yeah. So
I don't know if I've ever seen William Mapplethorpe in something, but man,
so
he just reads as such a asshole.
He is in most things. If
he's got that face,
he's
got that face.
I know I love
like the beach.
I love the series.
Hair.
I don't give a fuck about the ending, but William Mapplethorpe was in Lost, which he played a kind of an asshole in Lost too. So
I mean, he's got that guy. I mean, you gotta know
he's
coming up as that actor. Like you gotta like looking like when you see you take your first headshots, like. All right, I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole. I got to lean into it. I'm the fucking douchebag.
Play to your strengths.
I can't think of his name right now, but I'm going to look it up before the end of the episode. There's an actor I was watching the other day that is like to the point where like I've never seen him be anything other than the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look him up before the end of this.
I mean, it's fucking dude. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta play to your strengths for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, no, I'm curious. Who do you guys think is the most punchable faced actor? I have an answer.
I'd have to think about that. There's so many.
You have an answer. I'm trying to think. The guy I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of what movie he's in.
Yeah.
I did. You know, like
dude. That's the thing. I watch a lot of like weird B shit, and goddamn,
they're all
like
all
actually, dude. The little girl from the. That played the lead bad guy in the shitty Children in the Corn remake. Dude, I'd punch that bitch in the face in a second.
Here's mine. Damian Lewis.
That guy? Oh, yeah. He just begs for a punch in the face.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he's the most punchable face.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I actually like that show a lot.
I haven't watched it, but
Billions,
everything I've
dude,
seen him in, I just
Billions
punch
is
this
fucking
guy's
great.
face.
All right, this is like the worst fucking radio ever.
No, just Google Damian Lewis.
No, I guess for yours.
Google new Children of the Corn reboot, and then look who the lead actress is.
I guess that's a thing that you can do from home.
He's interactive.
John, do you have a punchable face that you want?
That one. That I mean,
Children of the Corn, all of them.
yeah.
Mine is. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's fucking
there's a
name.
lot of punchable faces, really. Like, I could probably...
Zelchko Ivanek. This fucking dude here. You guys know this guy?
I recognize him.
Yeah, this dude is like a fucking prick in every goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, check it out. It's
I feel like he plays a lawyer a lot.
JKO, last name IVANEK. No, he plays a fucking creep and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the feature.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So there's a struggle with Ruth and Matt and dealing with their son's shit. And basically, in addition to the struggle, at the first little hearing for William Mapother's character, they have Natalie on the stand. This is Marissa Tomei's character.
Just before that, I do want to point out.
Yeah, point it out.
The scene at the funeral,
Mm-hmm.
where the dad kind of sees. He's behind a closed door and observes everybody at the funeral doing just like funeral things, which is like everybody has like a halfway connection to what's happening. Everybody's there as a sense of formality. Like there's this institution of death that we're gonna observe, but like nobody really gives a shit. And not long after that, he finds the wife, Stacey Spacek, and she's just shut down in the bedroom. And then he goes and
in the bedroom.
Wanders into the bedroom, Frank's bedroom, and
it all makes sense now.
Gets to see all of the the sketches, the architectural stuff. Like one really cool thing is he picks up a fishing tackle box, and he's thumbing through it, and it's like a bobber, but he finds a piece of glass from like a broken bottle.
Yeah.
Like the most inanimate, nonsensical thing, but like. His reaction.
It's
to
like a
that
memory.
Little piece of glass. Like we don't need to know exactly the memory, but we can see.
There's another similar scene where he's like pruning a tree, and there's little step for like what was probably a clubhouse at one time, and he like rubs the board.
But he sits down at his drafting table and just puts his head down and just falls apart.
Yeah, you can. These people are broken by this tragedy, like 100% broken. So they're struggling to get through, and there's this little hearing where basically Marissa Tomei's character. This is actually one of the brilliant things I like about the film. She's on the stand, and basically the defense attorney is having her walk through it, and she's like, "Yeah, I heard the gunshot." She's like, "Wait a minute! Like earlier, you said that you saw the gunshot. You didn't hear the gunshot."
Yeah.
And so basically, it turns into this thing. You see the parents with the lawyer, and it's like, like now we thought he was going to be going away for like the rest of his life, but now because of this, like nobody actually saw it.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be manslaughter.
Yeah. And this is still the bail hearing, and they expect him to be gone for a while. And it's like, and this is where it says like, okay, well, his family says they'll put up a substantial amount of property. Not money.
Yeah.
Property.
Yeah.
So that's how you know motherfuckers are rich. When they're like, oh yeah, not dollar amounts. No, we'll put up property to pay this bail. But in that scene, when she's confronted with that inconsistency, Marissa Tomei's performance there is really fucking solid.
Oh,
it's so good because you just see it in her, and she knows what she did.
Yeah.
And it just happened, and she's destroyed in that moment.
She is because
so good.
Because she's really on the side of Frank and his parents. Like she wants him to pay for what he did, but she also is an honest person. And she doesn't lie.
There's things that just in those moments, you get caught up in the emotion. You get caught up in the moment.
Well, she knows she knew what happened. So the interesting thing is like from a legal perspective. the reason that this guy's not going to, to prison for, for murder for the rest of his life is because of the perspective, right? Like, they give us the perspective as the viewer. We don't actually see what happened, right?
No,
we just see a dead body. Like, so we don't know if there was a struggle.
Well, and so,
if it was an accident. I mean, we know because we know the fucking story.
Yeah. Now, and I was just rewatching this with Alicia just yesterday, and she's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Can't tell that it was what it was." Like, well, I mean, the thing is, like, because later, a little bit later, one of the problems with the defense, or with the not defense, them trying to go after this dude,
offense,
is that the house is already trashed.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. The problematic thing is that was the scuffle between Strout and Natalie, not the scuffle between Frank and Strout. And so, from a legal standpoint, you can't determine if it was a struggle based on the house.
No,
that struggle
there was actually realistic.
Already happened.
This guy would definitely
get
away with
they definitely did. And I mean, it checks. The whole thing completely checks. So, what we get in the aftermath here is Matt and Ruth not really communicating really well with anybody, especially each other.
That's the thing. Yeah, they're both trying to find ways to cope, and they're both the worst thing. And then that's the thing that you see in tragic moments is when people just shut off from each other, and that's it boils and comes to a head. All the tension from this point on is pretty much the tension between those two.
Yeah.
So then we find out that, like, we've kind of seen them throughout the movie, but their best friends, like their couple friend, their main go-to couple friend, is the Grinnells, played by William Wise and Celia Weston. Basically invite them to come spend a weekend in their cabin, and Matt asks Ruth whether or not she wants to go, and she's like, yeah, that sounds like fun, like, you can tell it's definitely a much needed to get your mind off shit kind of a foray. And there's a really interesting little conversation that happens here on both sides. One is Ruth talking to Celia Weston's character, where Celia Weston actually kind of says something that could be construed as insensitive towards somebody who just lost it.
They're just talking about grandkids, and it's like, oh yeah, somebody said that I got no danger of dying off because I got 12 grandkids, and like,
oof. Yeah. Know the room. God, I think John Brown said it out loud as we were watching the movie. He's like, know the room, bitch.
Yeah, read the room, goddamn.
It's also just like a very primal, instinctual.
Yeah, and this is where, and there's this scene too is where, well, a scene just after where they're having right after this they're having dinner, and there's been some seeds of the resentment from Sissy Spacek's character shown a bit.
Oh,
and this is like really driving it home, her resentment towards the husband.
But before that, there's a little scene with William Weiss, his best friend, and Matt Fowler, and basically he's just kind of like drinking a beer, like looking at the wilderness, not really like, you can tell he's in almost like zombie mode, and he's just kind of going through the motions, and he's like, so how many acres do you have here? And he's like, you've asked me that question like every time you come here. He's like, this goes from here to here. It's like 350.
Yeah.
And really important for later. Just a little bit part, but yeah. His best bud owns 350 acres in the woods.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on. We're home now, and things aren't looking good. Ruth goes to a convenience store and runs into our good friend William Mapother. Richard Strout sees him getting some coffee at a convenience store well, I guess it's more like a grocery, whatever.
Just tearing her apart.
Yep. And she sees him, he sees her, he immediately bails the fuck out. He's like, oh fuck, this is uncomfortable.
Just before that too, there was the dad confronts the lawyer in a last ditch effort, like, is there anything we can do? Is there anything we can do at all? And that was one of my favorite scenes in the movie, when he pulls him outside and the lawyer's just like rattling off like, oh, well, there's nothing we can do, and he's just casually fucking with change in his pocket as he's talking to this
he's
guy
just focusing on the change.
This super important thing in his life. This lawyer is just like casually fiddling with some bullshit in his pocket. Like, there's a lot of that's the first scene. there's a lot of institutional failure present
Yeah.
in this movie of just people being let down by everything around them, and that's a really powerful scene there. Sorry, continue.
Oh no, indeed.
Yeah, it's kind of just like the entire movie is just systems failing.
Yeah, exactly. Like nobody actually gives a shit. There's a scene right around this or coming up pretty soon, or no, just before that. There's another where Sissy Spacek goes to the church to visit the grave, and the pastor stops her and tries to comfort her with some fucking completely like. He sets her down like, well, somebody else had a child pass, and this is what she said she experienced.
This is the worst fucking preacher in the history of the
Oh,
world.
dude, no, it was so embarrassing.
The priest in this movie is fucking terrible.
No, it was so embarrassing. He rattles off this like
he's a
this
drunken, babbling moron.
This thing from this person that had a child die, and this wacky story that this other person that had a child die gave to him, and he's like, well, it really gave her comfort. And then Cece Spacek's like, oh, how did she die? Oh, it was like she drowned as an accident, and she was just like, oh.
It
was like,
off the cigarette,
just fucking super institutional failure.
Yeah.
Good job,
Total
guy.
dismissal. Total dismissal.
Yeah, that doesn't apply to me at all, you motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah, that's why it's like it almost isn't even playing as when it gets to what Tom Wilkinson does. It feels like it's not even. It's like almost non-judgmental in any way, one way or the other, but you also feel like Tom Wilkinson is totally within his right doing what he's doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
How can you argue that the character doesn't deserve what he gets?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The end is so fucking satisfying.
So after a little convenience store run-in, Sissy Spacek comes home with groceries, and Matt has just arrived home, and she's putting away groceries, obviously upset, and he tries to like, hey, what's going on? I can tell you're upset, and this is like the fight. Like this is the fight. Like they haven't been communicating since the tragedy. She just saw the killer.
Yeah, it turns into
this is just the recipe for the worst fight where like everybody says the worst things you could possibly say.
Everybody's family is brought to life,
and it's really
in your face.
It's really a lot what this movie is about. Is where in a tragedy like this, how anger and sadness and depression turn into more anger and
the lack of communication.
It turns into blame. It turns into blame. Exactly. You know, it's like they start blaming each other.
And that's the opening thing is once they get into this conversation, once they get into taking jabs at each other, you know, it's all about like, oh well, you know, you do this to cope, you do this to cope. We don't talk, and like, maybe if you motherfuckers would have talked, like, you would be not here.
Sissy Spacek has this great fucking like. She basically starts a fight with this fucking like plate breaking it's so good. It's actually one of the best scenes.
It's kind of
and then it ends with a kind of a monologue by Tom Wilkinson's character, which I fucking love.
Oh yeah,
and I will not dare try to duplicate it now. You see the movie. It's so good.
You guys want
breaking everything down. Just like she's placing all this blame again. This is where she throws in the face like you just wanted to live vicariously through his piece of ass. And yada yada, and he's just like, bitch, please. That's what he didn't say that, but that's what in my mind when he's like.
When he actually takes that breath and tells her how it is, it's like you're bitter. You know, you used to control him and do this and this. Now you're doing the same shit to me.
Yeah, and you've seen it.
It's just like you want to stand up and clap.
Yeah,
it's
you've
like,
seen it through the whole movie.
This man has a spine.
What I loved about this scene, and just even more so when we just rewatched it.
We're about to talk about candy.
The candy scene.
Oh my god, it's the best scene in the fucking movie. Right in the middle of this fight, the doorbell rings.
Yeah, and they're like, "Fuck, it's probably the cops."
Yeah, that's exactly what they say. It's probably the cops, and it makes sense. They've been throwing shit, breaking shit, screaming at the top of their lungs, and it's a little girl selling candy.
Yeah, and they're just like, I'm selling candy for this donation, it's charity. And he's like, I'll take $3 to 20 or 20. And
we got a deal where there's 5 or what.
And he just comes back.
Also, those things, even for the early 2000s, I think the movie just takes place in the late 90s.
Yeah.
She's selling the candy bars for like $3 a piece.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god!
Donation upcharge, man. Come on.
There is a donation upcharge. I sold those candy bars.
The scene right after that, He walks in the room, CC Spacek is sitting down, and it's the perspective is by a table, and you just see his hand set like 5 bars of fucking candy down.
And basically the little like girl candy scene like led to a break in the argument where everybody settles down,
gives
comes
him a breath.
back.
It felt
Gives him a
very
breath.
realistic.
Yeah.
It did feel really realistic.
It's exactly
That's why I love that scene so much, is
Yeah.
because it's just the unexpected.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's that is what would happen.
Yeah.
Like something normal every day
it's-
would happen, you know. And
It's
so
an anchor to the reality of the situation.
yeah.
Like it
Yep.
takes you. It's a thing that took them outside of their frustrations, their angst, their anxiety. It's just like, oh, we still have to live. There's still
Yeah.
going to be a little girl selling us candy.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, like we still have to fucking function.
Yep, and
you know.
and so basically they start back the conversation again, and it leads to one of actually I really love the dialogue here where Tom Wilkinson is just like, I'm sorry, Ruth, nobody should ever have to hear those things, and it's like that's like the first thing he says after this whole like candy interruption, and it's like like anybody who's ever been in a fight with somebody like a loved one know that moment where like
I'll say anyone who's ever been in a fight with a mature person who like,
no
can have a healthy
eventually
relationship with somebody.
because at first when you're in the fight everything is up here.
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking bitch, blah!
Yeah.
And then like there's a moment where you both basically have beaten each other down to the point where you feel like shit, and like the actual like adult comes out, and it's like, you know, we're being assholes to each other for no reason. And I really love that scene kind of captures that.
Yeah.
It's just really well done for a first time director. It's just fucking marvelous.
Yeah.
So from this point, it's the first like it's the little inkling that maybe they're gonna work things out among themselves, and
Yeah, no, it was a powerful scene of just reconciliation, just acknowledgement of like, okay, we both are just in a bad fucking place. Like, try to figure this out.
Yeah.
so then after this, there's a scene where, you know, now he's like just really determined. Matt is really determined to not let this be a thing. He tries to talk to like an acquaintance of William Mapother's character at a bar. Basically,
Right.
sets it up to try to talk to him to see if he can get anything whatsoever. It's not really working. He talks to his buddy, and he's like doing a little poker beer night. Like there are like poker nights throughout, but like he's having like a beer with his buddy at his buddy's house. And this is the same buddy that has the 350 acres, but this is at his house.
Yeah.
And
This is a powerful scene.
oh, it
too.
is a very good scene because like he's basically just saying like, I didn't think about the bail. She's like fucking seeing him at the goddamn grocery store now, and like his buddy is just like, I fucking hate the guy, you know, like he was a piece of shit 10 years ago, you know, like
Right.
like he's like, I heard that he's working at some bar, blah blah blah, and like you kind of get the whereabouts, and so this is where we kind of get the first idea that there might be some kind of a thing happening.
Yeah, and it's immediately afterward. It is actually.
It is very
Yeah.
immediately
And
afterwards.
also,
You now see
Yes.
we now see Richard Strout coming out of a bar, closing up, and he's coming over to his SUV, and he's met by Dr. Fowler
Fowler.
with a gun.
Fowler.
Fowler.
Yeah.
Dr. Fowler with a
Dr.
gun, which by the way,
Fowler.
Reese brought this up, man. Like he penned it. Like Tom Wilkinson, British actor, fucking killed the Boston accent for the entire movie.
Yeah.
like
And
seriously,
a
like
subtle Boston accent.
it's subtle. It's very subtle. Like enough, like you were able to pick out that he was British, and he does look British.
Yeah, there's
But I
something
mean, like,
about him. He's
it's
one of those actors who for
undeniably
some reason looks
American. Like
British.
he sounds
Oh,
American.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, he killed it.
Anyway, so basically holds him at gunpoint, says, "Get in the fucking car. Is there anybody at your place right now?" And he says, "Not tonight." And he's like, "Well, that's where we're going." And so he's like, "Drive slow. Don't try to get pulled over." So now we've got Richard Strout with a gun to his head driving to his own place.
This is where I thought the character like sealed his fate. Like, oh, he's not getting out of this alive. Where he tries to convince Tom Wilkinson's character that he had to kill his son.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, guy.
They
We all know
get
you're
on
a
the
fucking
road.
douchebag. Come on.
They're on the road for like 30 seconds. He's like, so he was he was fucking my wife, doctor. Like
I had to do something.
Yeah, he's just like, don't talk.
Yeah, shut the fuck up, you degenerate piece of shit.
What I actually love about this scene is William Apler's character. Every time that he was around Nick Stahl, which I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, I've never really liked Nick Stahl. Like this is the only movie I've ever seen him in where I actually thought that he was good. I
That's
think
all. Honestly, I will say that's no. Now that I'm remembering, that is the main reason why I thought he was gonna die. Because I was thinking like Tom Wilkinson, Sissy Spacek, and Marissa Tomei. There's no way that Nick Stahl is gonna leave this movie.
No, for sure.
He's out of here.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought that like he was kind of a piece of shit as an actor, but he held his own for what he did here.
Yeah, it was small sample sizes, but it was good enough.
Yeah. So anyway, Tom Wilkinson basically like shut the fuck up, and we get to Richard's apartment or whatever, and he's like, "Where's your suitcase?" And he's like, "Oh, it's in the bedroom." Oh.
So many bedrooms.
Oh my god! And you guys didn't know what the fucking movie? Oh my god, the title. Really? So he's like, well, and the whole time he's like begging for his life the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, just shut up, And he's just like, Dr. Fowler, I'm gonna go to prison. Like I'm looking at 10 years minimum. And he's just like, you're not going to jail.
Yeah.
And he tells him, he's like, no, you're gonna skip bail. Where's your suitcase?
Yeah.
And so then they go to the
and his demeanor changed. Like, oh my god, thank you, Dr. Fowler.
Yeah.
And the whole time he just can't like stop giving excuses for why he murdered his son.
Yeah, that's where I thought he really sold the privilege. Where he's like, no, Dr.
I
Fowler,
can
you
still
don't
get out of
understand.
this. I can still like,
He had to die.
I'm the guy. You know, like bonds your fucking thumbs.
I'm
Like,
the main character. You know.
So then they're leaving now. The bags are packed, and they start moseying down the road. He's like, "Oh wait, Dr. Fowler, the airport's the other way." And he's like, "Yeah, we're going somewhere else. Like somebody's gonna hold you.
There's
for a while."
no planes that go at this night.
Yeah,
Dr.
he's
Fowler.
like, somebody's gonna hold you for a while. And then there's a moment where like they kind of turn into this like fucking wood road, like the path through some woods, and basically we come upon the cabin, his buddy's cabin.
Yeah.
And William Apler just can't help himself. He's just making excuses left and right for why he murdered his son. It's kind of depressing at this point.
Yeah.
And you feel bad for him almost.
I know.
You don't really feel bad for him. So anyway, they get to the cabin. His buddy pops out of the cabin. He's like, "Oh, can I help you with your bag?" And he's like, takes the bag, and like the dude is taking the bag into the cabin, and like Tom Wilkinson just fucking wastes him. Just pulls out the gun, just fucking wastes him right there.
Well, he
shoots him. Then when he's down on the ground, he shoots him in the back like four more times.
He asked him like, Matthew's character is about to like start walking. He's like, "Hey, hold up!" And he turns around, and you see him take a super iconic, like very very ominous step back. And I really enjoyed that step back because it's fucking business.
Yeah.
He takes that step back, and he does the job. He does the job, and it's so fucking satisfying.
Yeah.
So satisfying. When he's on the ground, he puts two more in him. It's like,
What I love about this is his buddy comes running out of the cabin. He's like, "What the fuck? This isn't what we talked about.
We were gonna wait.
We were gonna wait and do it together in the woods." And he's just like, "I couldn't wait." It's so good.
Yeah. Honestly, lucky he survived that long.
For sure.
I got to be honest. One of my favorite, like, I was gonna wait until we were completely done going through the entire movie, but I just want to stop here. One of my favorite things about this movie is this right here. This relationship with his friend, it's like
it's the goal of a male friendship. Like, I'd help you hide out.
Help you fucking murder somebody and get away with it. I will totally do that with you.
Yeah.
I would do that for you guys.
Oh, I appreciate that. I might need it.
Legally, I'm going to say that I would not do that for either of you.
So at this point, they've driven Richard's car into the woods.
Yeah.
And so now, his buddy is going to drive him back to his house. And there's this little thing with the fucking bridge where there's like some little dude that comes out and like has to like manually crank the fucking bridge. It's fucking hilarious.
It's hilariously awkward.
I was going to challenge you all to think of the three funniest moments from this movie because Dustin played it up like there wasn't a single ounce of
Yeah.
humor in it.
Oh, it's
And then we sit and watch this guy spin.
both times you see him, it's hilarious. It's just like
It's
is
just like
that really a
stone
thing?
faced.
I withdraw. This is a very.
Guy running.
There are some early jokes in this movie, but
Yeah.
the reason I said that is because it is a very serious.
Oh, it's
movie.
super
Yeah.
serious.
If you want to see a movie that's just depressing the entire time, watch watch Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah. There's
Uh,
like 3 jokes
but
and they're all in the first like 20 minutes.
But yeah, anyway, they're driving home, and his buddy makes reference to, he's like, oh fuck, like something about the bridge is putting them a little bit behind their schedule.
Yeah. Because
Yeah, but he said, he's like, but his buddy says, he's like, he mentions his wife, and he's like, the pill I gave her is going to be wearing off. So he drugged his fucking wife to come help his buddy murder somebody. I fucking love that. I love that part. So then, so Tom Wilkinson gets home and like does some shit in the kitchen, goes upstairs. And
he gets all his clothes off. He gets him,
throws him in the laundry, all the
yeah,
shit.
Yeah, he separates everything and
Goes into the bedroom.
Sissy Spacek patiently waiting.
Sissy
Spacek.
Spacek chain smoking.
Mhm.
She has not been drugged.
No.
The first words out of her mouth, "Did you do it?"
Yeah.
And because at this point you don't know, you really don't know what's going to happen. And when I was watching the movie in the theater the first time, and he's like, "You're going to skip bail," I'm like, "Okay, they got some thing to where they can get him skipping bail and actually get him to like get more time."
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
I didn't actually think he was going to fucking
it
waste
felt
him.
like they were
Yeah.
going to try and get him in trouble legally.
Yeah,
Like,
they're trying to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this scene in the bedroom, another reason why it could be called In the Bedroom, I think it's actually one of the best scenes is she's like, "Did you do it?" He doesn't answer. He just gets in the bed and immediately just like rolls over like he's going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I forgot to mention this earlier.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
This is a very important part that we fucked up and missed. But when he's in Mapother's apartment and he's packing, he sees a picture on the wall of Richard and Natalie together, and Natalie looks like it's like he's kind of behind her. He's got his arms around her. She looks really happy.
Yeah,
they're
she's
both
kissing her.
laughing, smiling, kind of. It's just a very happy looking picture, and she's like. So anyway, now we're back in the bedroom. Sissy Spacek is like, "Matt, are you okay?" And he's like, "There's this picture at his apartment with him and Natalie." The look on her face. She's like, "What is it?" And he's like, "I don't know."
Yeah, and I think that, that registered when I was watching it for a second time, and I think that's what it was. I think that he really he wanted it for his son. He wanted the life that he could tell that his son wanted that life.
That was
that it could be a good life for his son.
And we
He
totally
wanted to see that.
And listener, I totally I'm sorry, we totally missed this. One of the most powerful scenes in the movie is before they get into this whole murdery thing, and Marissa Tomei's character shows up at the school.
Oh yes,
where
where
Sissy Spacek is like doing her fucking music
trying
thing.
to do the same thing,
And basically comes up and is like I don't know how to approach you, but I'm sorry. Like basically tries to apologize.
Such a good
And
performance.
Sissy
too, from
Spacek
Marissa Tomei.
fucking like
Backhands,
bitch slaps her.
Yeah.
Like it's probably the most violent scene in the movie, and that's telling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't see it coming.
Yeah. No, and and again, just such a good performance from both people. Such a good performance from Miss Matei. She's trying to. She just breaks down. She's trying to find the words. Like, I'm sorry for, I'm sorry. I want to just take a minute to, just talk to you.
Yeah, no.
Bitch slap.
Yeah,
Like-
just like, oh yeah.
Interesting factoid. There was 15 takes of Sissy Spacek slapping Marissa Tomei.
Oh god.
And they kept the first take for the film.
Oh my god, it's like Sissy Spacek, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one's probably the best one.
Yeah, fuck.
So that kind of
Oh, I was gonna say though, a really powerful moment for me, and this was way early on, before Nick Stahl dies, is when Tom Wilkinson goes down to the bay to try and convince him not to date. Very half-heartedly convince him
Yeah, very
not to
half-heartedly,
date Marissa Tomei, and he's saying he's gonna not go to college and expand his fishing business.
Yeah, it was good enough for this is good enough for your dad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's
No,
like, and he's like, what? Are you just gonna live here? He's like, hey, it's as good a place as any. He's like, that's honestly like, why would you want to get in the way of that? Besides, like,
the thing I love about
the dad never did. You could tell the whole time that the dad was just like he was excited, and that's why I think that
what I love about his character as the dad,
much.
is that he never. He was the opposite of Ruth. That he was never like, you can't do that. Like that's like you got all this other potential. Like he never did that. He was willing to let his son make his own decisions. And I really appreciated that.
He was super supportive the entire time, and he valued what it was. He valued he knew where he came from, and he was okay with seeing that lived out again. Yeah, and and that's where I think again back to that picture with Natalie and Rich. In the home is just like he's just like, oh man, fuck that! Like you took that away. You took that away from my son. Like I can't let that stand. Fuck you! You took that away from my son. That should have been him. That should have been his happy life.
Can I ask you guys an unanswerable question?
Yeah.
What do you think was the best performance in this movie?
Dude, honestly, so
it's so I know it's an impossible question. It's an impossible question.
There's so many good performances. From everybody. I mean, it is impossible because you see Sissy Spacek and what's that guy's name again?
Tom Wilkinson.
Tom Wilkinson.
You see them so much more.
Yeah.
But every time Marissa Tomei is on camera, it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I've always said you put her in her movie, you get an extra star.
For me, I think I would have to say Marissa Tomei's performances where even though they were like you were there and just kind of glued to the scenes and glued to the film, her performances were just fantastic every time.
Yeah. All three of them got nominated. I think all three were deserving.
I'm leaning more towards Tom Wilkinson, but it probably is just because he had the most screen time.
I kind of agree with you.
Amazing, man.
It's so hard. It's so difficult.
Yeah, it's really hard.
It's so difficult, but Tom Wilkinson, to me, just kind of owns the second half of it.
No, and he does.
I really love his performance throughout. I wasn't he was just a bit actor to me before this movie, and that's when I realized, fuck, this dude's fucking.
Yeah, well, and that's
he's legit. He's a legit dude. He was the least well known of the three.
Yeah, you don't always get an actor's full spectrum and real scope in any given movie. It takes the right scenario and circumstance to really show you who an actor is. It takes the right script, takes the right environment, and that was definitely one for him, for sure.
All right, so we're going to try to put a nail on the feature now. We went a little over what I would have preferred, but that's all right. It's a good movie, and it was all good information. I'm just going to end with saying, fuck, this movie is really fucking good. This is one of, I think, 2 years where I basically saw all of the, back when I actually kept track of the shit more closely, I had basically seen all of the Oscar nominees that I was able to physically see going into the Oscars. And this was my favorite movie that year. Yeah. And so, I really, really enjoyed everything. I think it's just everything about the movie is just kind of perfect.
The performance, the pacing also.
Oh yeah,
the pacing is perfect because it's you get in one situation you think it might draw a little bit. No, again, that escalated quickly. Every time they don't fuck around too much. You get it's a pretty complete package. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought the movie was near perfect and. I enjoy it a lot, and that's why I picked it. It didn't have as many flaws, which means you would think it means not as much conversation, but I dig it.
Yeah, no, it's there's plenty of conversation to be had for sure. I think it's to me it's a fuck. This movie is just. I always love human experience pieces because that's all any art is. Art is simply the real. Fundamental purpose of art is to be a mirror to our experience, to a mirror to ourselves, to help us grow as a species and a civilization. And these kinds of films, this kind of art, is exactly that. Yeah. It's exactly a mirror to our base bullshit that hides all these gems of what other potential we have. There's a lot of potential in this movie, conversation of potential in this movie. So yeah, it hits that on the head.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel fuck this movie is gets into I just anytime a movie gets into like a really dark, hyper specific situation, it's just always really interesting to see,
for sure.
like, inspected and looked at, and that's similar, really similar to why I connected it to Manchester by the Sea.
Yep.
Also, Manchester by the Sea is,
you said that you'd like to see a double
Same
feature
region.
of those two movies together, and I think that the correct order is Manchester by the Sea first,
yeah,
and In the Bedroom second. And the reason is, if you do it the other way around, you're gonna like not sleep, because like Manchester by the Sea has like at least In the Bedroom has this thing like. These people, at the end of the day, the characters are all still sad. But you know what? At least we murdered a motherfucker who made us sad.
Yeah, there's a resolution.
Manchester by the Sea is like, this character is really sad. And like, I feel sad that this character is sad. And
it's just sad.
And he's
like,
oh,
just
now I
fucking
understand
sad.
why he's
There's
sad.
like-
and he should be sad.
it's just literally like, I feel like in Manchester by the Sea, not to get ahead of things, somebody might want to pick this movie, but my final take on Manchester by the Sea is like, you could offer this man like 13 virgins and a quadrillion dollars, and like he would not be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was blown away.
It's solid. Yeah, the performances. If you want to see a film with just fucking stellar, dramatic, personal performances, this is the film.
And that's honestly as a film enjoyer, that is my favorite thing, is performances. And like I'm really interested in the filmmaking and the cinematography, like how the sound works, all that stuff. I take all of it into account, but at the end of the day, 90% of the audience is only looking at the actors, it's the 10% of us, like us three, I know, like we notice little quirks with how they move the camera, how they don't move the camera.
Yeah, it comes from different places. Like for me as an artist, like I always think about composition and all that shit. But like, the gripping thing, the thing that really matters is it should be the performance.
Yeah, and like I've always loved that. To me, like when I used to watch the Oscars religiously, I was always more interested in who was going to win Best Actor or Best Actress than I was what was going to win Best Picture, because I feel like Best Picture is almost more political, because the Academy is made up of a lot of like fucking celebrities,
That right there is why I don't give a shit about any contest that is art, because art shouldn't be a contest.
Yeah.
Because if it becomes a contest, then it's a bunch of fucking dick sucking and elbow rubbing, and that doesn't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah.
I felt with the Oscars, Best Actor and Best Actress has never been that. Like I feel like they at that point there are a lot of actors.
It's a stripped down.
There are a lot of
It is
actors
exactly
voting
what it
for who
is.
they thought was the best actor, and they're going to be fucking it's like if you were like asked to be a judge on like some kind of like fucking art contest, like you're going to be objective because you're looking at art at that point. You're going to give it to the person you think did the best job with the art,
Yeah. Well, speaking of people not on screen, though, I was going to say, I loved Thomas Newman's score.
Yep.
And I recognized him right away because he did, right around the same time, the score for Road to Perdition and well, he's done most of Sam Mendes's scores, but he did Road to Perdition and American Beauty.
Yep.
They're all very in the similar like genre of score, and they're all like beautiful.
One scene I want to talk about before we get off the main feature subject matter is the card game post death of his son.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
I was wondering if one of you guys.
That was a really powerful scene.
It's such a good scene.
And because the first poker scene is like, oh, he's sitting there looking at his cards and like, oh, come on, man, hurry up and fucking bet. You don't want to get this fucking guy going again. He's gonna start fucking spouting out poetry and yada yada yada. And the second scene after his son is dead, like he's just like, they pause.
It's his turn to bet, and it's like they're just
he's
like
paused, and he's like,
everybody's just waiting on him.
Yeah.
Like all of his buddies.
Don't
And
pussyfoot around me.
He's like, somebody fucking say something.
Yeah, exactly. Don't pussyfoot
Yeah,
around.
no,
Make
that's
this
a really
normal.
powerful
And then
scene.
his friend, that is the guy that reads the poetry in those awkward scenes, reads his own poetry, presumably.
Yeah.
When earlier he's like, "You guys don't want me to read my own poetry," and it was just that was a really, really powerful. And that guy
it's so
delivered it
good.
so well. It's one of the coolest
Yeah.
scenes in the movie. For sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that.
I love this fucking movie. Like fuck, this movie is a movie that I love.
Yeah, it's a great film. It's a great film. Fuck, this is a great film for sure. So that's it.
All right.
That's the feature, man.
So I think we all at least liked it a lot. So
Yeah.
that is going to put a nail in the bedroom, but it does not put a nail in the
bedroom.
Oh shit! I always nail her in the bedroom. But it is
God,
not.
we're adolescent.
It does not put a nail in this episode, however, because while the podcast is called "Fuck This Movie," every once in a while we fuck that movie.
Yeah, that's what this is.
And so every week we are gonna pick one movie to fuck. And when I say that, I mean like we're just gonna shit on something for like 2 minutes.
Yep. All right.
So John,
that's what you consider fucking? Wow.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
that is an accepted form of fucking, though.
I know. I don't know how much I'd say accepted, but
It's accepted to some people. It is unaccepted.
The name of this particular episode is in the bedroom, and so you shouldn't question.
Don't question the fucking Reese.
what happens?
Don't question
in the
what
bedroom.
happens in the bedroom.
Even if it involves shit.
It has nothing to do with lobsters. Let me tell you,
the plot
it's
of-
shitting on people.
the plot and the title of this movie is just set up for so many interesting taglines.
We're gonna say the
and
tag.
like-
Just say it.
the
Say
tagline is
Say
so
the-
bad.
I
say the
confirmed
tagline.
this was the tagline. This
Say
isn't
it.
just Letterboxd's tagline.
I hate taglines forever.
I should watch the trailer because I bet like the '90s trailer voice
Oh
says
yeah,
it.
yeah. They just like handpicked. Yeah.
Yeah. The tagline is a young man, an older woman, her ex-husband. Things are about to explode.
Yeah. That's so fucking.
Nothing
no
explodes.
No,
Let me
nothing
tell you
explodes.
right now.
Well,
no
I mean,
explosions.
A degree of his brain matter probably exploded when he got
Yeah.
shot in the
They
face.
were trying
I
to get
guess.
1% of their audience to be people who wanted to go see the new fucking
Yeah.
Fast and Furious movie. Explode in the fucking tagline. I'm gonna go see that.
Yeah. All right, so fuck that movie. Are we ready?
What movie are we fucking, John?
All right.
What movie?
Everybody, this is maybe
Is this?
close to Roadhouse status.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
The second Avatar movie.
Oh my god! You're gonna shit on the second Avatar movie?
I am.
Specifically,
Oh, wow.
or is it broadly the whole, both? Avatars?
No. The
Just
first
the
movie.
second one.
Yeah, the second one. Yeah,
Okay.
because it was fucking lazy. Because it was fucking lazy is why.
Yeah.
Damn it,
Okay,
it was
they
lazy.
worked on it for like a decade.
I know, and that's
Lazy
That's why I was
motherfucker,
so
James
offended,
Cameron.
is because they worked on it for a decade for the fantastic CGI that it had, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful. I won't take away that the film was beautiful,
Yeah.
but the writing, in my opinion, humble opinion of some random guy in northern Indiana that doesn't fucking mean anything, was fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Because the whole bit of, okay, we're gonna learn the way of the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the same fucking thing as the first film.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
But it's a family affair.
Yeah. They're
It's a
all
family
learning.
affair. And you all have to learn the traditions of this other tribe. So, yada, yada, yada. And, like, within that, some laziness. But it was just frustrating. It was frustrating because I expected so much. I wanted so much out of this movie. Because I really, really loved the first movie. And it offended me in the first movie. Because so many people, I remember so many people like, oh, it's just fucking Pocahontas. That's
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
bullshit. That's fucking stupid. I remember hearing that from people. I remember being so annoyed at that. Like, no, this is a good film. And who gives a fuck if it's Pocahontas?
Yeah.
It's an important story to tell. Imperialists shitting on a native population is not good. That was the first story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't do that. That's bad. We should rally for these natives. We should rally against what the status quo of what humanity has become. We should rally against that wholeheartedly. So, like, I hated the criticism of the first movie. I hated it.
Yeah.
And then I see the second movie that's becomes kind of the same thing. And it was just super frustrating. because it was like, okay, here's this main character. He's still there. He's doing his thing. Okay, humans come back. Of course, humans come back. We're fucking assholes. We're goddamn cockroaches. Of course, humans are coming back. So humans come back, and he's actively engaged in fighting them. His first response is to, I'm going to fight these humans. I'm the chieftain of this tribe. I'm going to fight these guys. I'm going to stand up for what I now believe in from the experience of the first film. I'm going to stand up for it. And then they rehash the first villain, Lazy Point One.
I thought that was like, okay, this could have been a totally fine story. You didn't need to bring resurrect a previous
you
character.
didn't. They didn't need to. It didn't matter that they did.
Yeah.
It was fine that they did, but they didn't need to. They could have just written a new thing.
Yeah.
Because the enemy is an entire species. The enemy is an idea. The enemy is imperialism. But they're just like, well, we got this guy backed up on a hard drive, so we're going to poop him into one of these bodies, and now he's going to come after you. And the reaction of the main character was so frustrating because he's actively involved in fighting, right? He's fighting. He's like already like guerrilla warfare, taking down trains. Like, I'm fucking fighting for survival. I'm going to beat back these humans. Oh, this guy's hunting you. Oh, shit. He's hunting me? I got to get out of here. Of course he's fucking hunting you. Of course they're hunting you. You're the chieftain of the fucking tribe. Of course they are hunting you.
Yeah.
You would be the guy that's hunted. And your response for being hunted is, well, I gotta get out of here. Sorry, guys, I gotta get out of here because they're hunting me. They're gonna kill you. They're going to kill them anyway. Imperialism.
Yeah,
they kill everyone. They kill all the natives. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Imperialists come. We want this shit. We're gonna kill all of you. They're not going to care if the chieftain's like, oh, God, you're hunting me. I got to get out of here. You guys are in danger. They're going to be like, we're going to kill them anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's a stupid premise to boot. Like, that's right there. It's already stupid. So he leaves, and he finds this other, like, water tribe. And then it's like, oh, well, you have to learn our ways. You have to do this thing. Like, okay, well, now what's the first movie? Now it's a family affair. Everybody learning this new way of living, yada, yada, yada. And, like, it was just so much of it played out so much more typically than I thought it would.
Yeah.
I just feel like it really shouldn't have. It didn't need to. Like, I was excited to see an exploration of this planet's culture, exploration of this planet's civilizations. Like, it was cool to see the water versus the forest. Really dug that. And I can dig other iterations of this native species cultures when it comes to presumably elemental influences. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a plains Navi and a mountain Navi. And
I think he's
maybe
literally
a
said
swamp
the
Navi.
next one is going to be a fire tribe.
Yeah. It's going to be one of those things. Like, I'm down for that. That's super cool. I dig that. But, like, all the interactions of the characters were just so obvious and so typical. It's like, oh, the bad guy. Okay, he's being a brutal piece of shit. Well, duh. Of course, the bad guy's being a brutal piece of shit. And, like, the bad guy already is super annoying because, okay, he's hunting you. Your choice is to flee. You're actively fighting against these guys. So why don't you just go actively try to murder him? Because you guys murdered him once. If it's a rehashed character, you successfully fucked this dude up before. Why not try to fuck him up again?
Yeah.
And again, like, it's like, okay, thinking that it's going to stop humans from pursuing conquest by you leaving, it's actually really just stupid.
Yeah.
Because like, he's like, oh, I'm going to run over here to the islands, and like, because they're hunting me.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop any aggression from the humans in this scenario.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you're just dipping out on your forest people because they're hunting you. That's not stopping the aggression from the humans.
They
in your
kind of
forest.
like, it's like they can't embrace how dark the story should be, in that, like, if the first movie happens, what would happen in real life is that the humans would just send down strike forces and just wipe out the Na'vi.
They would just keep going. They would keep
boom,
going.
I also kind of wonder, like, because there's 3 more films.
There's 3 more films, and they're building up.
I mean,
there's
an indefinite amount of films.
Like, I almost wonder if they're setting up for him to not be the main villain.
No, what they're setting up for.
Yeah.
In my opinion, not to cut you off.
You did, but sure.
I'm sorry. The villain guy,
Yeah.
they were absolutely setting up for him to be a good guy.
Yes, they are. They're
That's
100%
that's
are. Whether or not that happens or not, they're setting up for it.
Oh,
Yes.
I would put fucking money on it.
Have some sort of redemption
I would
arc.
put fucking money on it.
Yeah.
I guarantee in the next film, bad guy gonna be a good guy, and like that's.
I'll bet you a bottle of Angel's Envy.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom. Yeah.
Accepted.
So next movie, you're saying next movie?
Yeah.
You think he'll be a good guy by the end of the next movie?
By the end of the next movie.
If he's a good guy by the end of the next movie, you got a bottle of Angel's Envy, which I will help you drink.
And if I'm wrong, I will fucking buy it for you. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And you can drink it with me.
Yeah,
it's really high stakes.
It's the thing is, it's just the fucking typicality of it.
Yeah.
Like the typicality.
I don't know why, but when you were in the middle of your rant there, I was I was reminded of a movie I saw in middle school.
Fern Gully?
Huh? No, not Ferngully. It was a 1970s movie about Chief Joseph called "I Will Fight No More Forever."
Yeah.
Anyway, completely unrelated, other than the fact that it popped into my mind as you were talking about that.
That's the thing that I really like the first Avatar. Because I really...
So, like, when the first Avatar was coming out, I was very young, 2009.
Very young, 2009. I mean, I was pretty young.
I was like 16.
I was only like 5 years older.
And so, like, before the movie came out, we're watching. My brother and I were super excited about it because we both like James Cameron. We both like sci-fi movies.
Right.
We're watching all the trailers and all the featurettes and how young nerds get excited for a movie.
Yeah,
it's like, months before the movie came out, we're like, oh, it's like Fern Gully in space. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like Pocahontas. Oh,
Yeah.
it's like the exact same story, And then the movie comes out, and it was exactly that. And we're like, oh, that was really fun. And then everyone goes, well, wait a minute. It was just Fern Gully and Pocahontas. We're like,
It's my favorite voice that Reese does.
It is.
It's this
the
voice.
reason.
It's like
yeah.
it's like the everything. It's like this is his mafiosa voice. This is
No,
his,
the mafioso's got more of an accent.
But
it's the same voice, but I appreciate it.
It's people complaining about. It's like, but that's what
They're
the movie
good
was
stories.
going to be. Like, what were you expecting? That's what the movie said it was going to be.
And the core of it, that's a thing that needs to be said. It's a thing that needs to be told, right? And so, so I was disappointed in how just typically that went and how it just was kind of rehashing the first thing. Also disappointed in, like, as soon as they get to the water tribe, like, there's some teenage water nabby that are like, this fucking guy, he's from the fucking forest.
Insert Beavis and Butthead laugh.
And like, what pissed me off about that is like, okay, so what you've shown us of this species on this planet is they're all like super interconnected, super like one with all life. But you're like illustrating to me some like super typically human American
that's living.
behaviors.
That's not. I mean, it's human, but prejudice will always. I feel come forward, and they are teenage boys specifically.
Yeah, but the thing is, like every expression, every look at this species and this culture we have had is just like super Zen Native American, like acceptance, love, like oneness.
Yeah, but like
And
Native
so-
Americans also did have war and
Well,
and
yeah,
murder.
I know
They
that,
weren't,
but I'm just
angels,
like you have this expression of all this oneness, and you have this like super typical thing, and that felt. I mean, I could write that off. That was whatever. That was moderately annoying.
Yeah.
The biggest annoyance with this movie for me was the final scene, the final fight scene. I hated all of that.
It went on I think it's almost like a third of the
I don't mind-
It played like a fucking Marvel movie.
I don't.
Like
It did. I don't
ending
mind that it
did.
went on for a
I
long
agree
time.
with that.
What pissed me
I
off?
actually think this was a good movie. Like,
No, it is a good movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
you missed the point of the exercise, John Brown.
It's a good enough movie.
Okay.
These are my notes.
Okay,
A good
okay,
enough movie.
yeah.
That's what this is. Because I expected so much more because the first one is so good, and I expected so much more after such a long time. And again, it's just a bunch of typical shit. It's a bunch of typical writing in a typical scenario that this shouldn't have been because it was so. Well, I mean, it was still fairly typical, but it's mostly non-typical the first time around. But like, okay, so they murder the whale. Everybody's mad about the whale murder, right? All these native species, like, we're fucking blood frenzy, bloodlust. We're gonna fuck up these people for murdering our brethren. And it sets up this big battle scene at the end of the movie. And the battle starts after a little bit of dialogue, and they're like, "Oh, you got your kids, yeah." And they show the chieftain and the chieftain's wife murder like 2 people, like attack like 2 boats. And then the rest of this 30-40 minute fight scene, all of those 80 to 100 water Navi are just gone.
Yeah.
Completely out of the equation. That was, to me, really lazy, because when half of your movie is CGI, there's nothing stopping you from just making some CGI battles happen in the background, including the characters that you just made a super purposeful point of including in this scene.
Yeah.
And like just the pacing of that last scene, the time gaps.
Honestly, more like 99% of the movie is CGI. Like,
No, it is. Exactly.
it's like legally an animated movie.
And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
That's why.
Gorgeous.
Honestly, that's why I'm willing to forgive a lot from both those movies, because they are. It's like mostly spectacle to me, and it's
No, it
the
is.
visuals
It's
are
hard.
So
like
incredible.
James Cameron is incredible, and like he is like devoted the remainder of his career to this
To Avatar,
And,
yeah.
like it's hard to like.
So my bit is like, so these movies are.
We've gone over too, so let's wrap this up,
Okay.
John Brown.
All right, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But,
It's fine.
I expected more.
Yeah.
I expected more than spectacle.
Yeah.
Especially with the nature of the story that's present. I expected more than spectacle, and I expected more than super typical action movie writing. Because the last fight scene.
Oh,
is
it was typical. It was right out of the Marvel playbook.
It
there
was
at the end.
super
Yeah,
typical
100%.
action movie
100%.
writing,
Yeah.
and that's what pissed me off.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't want out of it. Is that I wanted more than that.
I appreciate that part of your argument for sure. It was very much out of the Marvel playbook.
It was
there.
just the same fucking shit. The coolest thing was the whale. The coolest character was the whale.
Yeah.
The fucking whale that the
Oh,
one
yeah,
kid
the
bonded with.
subplot with the whale too. Yeah, it was
no.
interesting.
The whale was sweet, and the whale was a badass.
Yeah.
The whale fucked shit up. The whale was genuine. The whale was awesome. So that's my fuck this movie.
So now we're gonna hand we're gonna get through this as quickly as we can, but no hurry. Reese, you have the floor. Reese is choosing the movie that will be the subject of episode number 8, and also he's gonna tell us what to go see in theaters,
Yeah.
or what not to go see in theaters. So,
What's the movie?
which one are we doing first, Reese?
I'll do my movie pick.
Yeah.
I'm feeling bad that we haven't done a foreign language film yet.
Oh,
And
love it.
I
Love it.
really wanted to
Yeah.
pick one.
Let's do it.
What do we got? I also really want to talk about religion.
Oh, fuck.
But I think I'll save the religion pick for my next movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I am going to pick I believe it's Chinese movie called Raise the Red Lantern, and I can guarantee none of you have even heard
I
of this
have
movie.
never heard of it.
I've heard of it.
You've heard of it?
I've actually-
because you've looked at my
No,
list. and stuff.
actually, I've actually seen part of this movie.
Really?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I had HBO growing up, and I actually have seen an amount of Raise the Red Lantern on multiple occasions. I've never sat down and watched the entire movie.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll get into like my deeper reasons of like why I really like this movie next week. But yeah, it's obviously underrated because I feel like nobody's heard of it.
I have.
Yeah, the director has done some really much bigger things, but this is, I think, amazing. I haven't watched it for like 15 years though.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's gonna be like new to me.
When I saw it last, it's been longer than that.
Yeah, it's. I watched it on VHS. That's how long it's
Oh,
been.
okay. I watched it on HBO.
Yeah.
I know I didn't watch the whole movie, but basically what happened is my family had like family over, and then like friends and family of family, and we basically had this interesting person. Like we were watching a movie when all these people came over, but they were over there for several hours, and so like the next movie started rolling, and the next movie was Raise the Red Lantern.
Huh.
And one of the people in attendance was somebody who spoke like 14 different languages or something.
Wow.
And they were like really like impressed with the fact that they walked into our house and we were watching as a family Raise the Red Lantern, even though we were not watching Raise the Red Lantern.
Yeah.
We were watching some other shit that ended, and then Raise the Red Lantern was the next movie.
Yeah.
And so as a family and friends, we sat there and conversed while watching Raise the Red Lantern. Even though we weren't really watching Raise the Red
Yeah,
Lantern. So yeah, this
There's
will be fun. I'm
there's
actually
a
really excited about this pick.
Yeah,
Chris.
I if it lives up to my memories of it, it's fantastic and really unique. And probably here, I'll say this: Amazon lists it as a drama with subtags emotional and bleak.
Okay.
I think there's less humor in Raise the Red Lantern than there was in the bedroom, but I may be proven wrong. I don't remember.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So,
We'll make
so
some
John Brown, you
goddamn
got the next
humor
one. Let's get some humor in this motherfucker. It's gonna be depressing.
Okay, I got it. I got it. I'll handle it.
Hobo with a shotgun incoming.
It's a little.
Yeah. I got so much.
It's not impossible to find, but it's probably going to be pretty hard to find high quality. I know you can find a decent, like a 720 rip of it on YouTube,
Right.
just for free. You can also apparently rent it on Amazon, but it doesn't have a Blu-ray release. It has like a DVD release that's like $80. You know,
Right.
like I said, I watched it on VHS. You know, back when I watched it. So yeah, you should be able to find it. You know, legally or free. I don't really care. It's worth watching.
Right.
And if they're not going to make it available for us, you just have to watch it however it is available.
Right.
So.
Reese, I'm not gonna lie. In the short history of this podcast, this is the most excited I've been about a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually have kind of seen the movie, even though I haven't actually experienced the movie. And
Yeah.
so like this is one in the back of my head that I've always had. It's very high on my list on
Yeah.
Letterboxd. Like it's one that I've wanted to see for a long time because I've kind of seen it, but like
It's like you've been waiting 20 years to find out
to
how it ends.
actually sit down and
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah,
You know,
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
for
big
sure.
difference.
Yeah. So yeah, I highly recommend you go and watch that movie.
All right.
Raise
we'll
the
be,
Red
we'll
Lantern.
be talking about
It's
it
a
soon.
Very quiet, emotional, slow burn. But yeah, super good.
All right, and then close us out here, man. What should the listeners go see in theaters right now?
In theaters right now, there's actually quite a lot.
We've seen one of them.
We have seen one of. Oh, we were going to talk about No Hard Feelings, but oh well.
We can talk about it right now. It's fine.
I think it's worth going to see. I think, especially if you can
Yeah.
get like a half decent crowd.
So last at the end of the last episode, Reese and I made a date to go watch No Hard Feelings together.
Yeah.
The Jennifer Lawrence rom-com. Not really romantic so much. It's more of just a comedy.
It's like friend romantic kind of.
yeah,
Yeah.
friend-com.
Friend rom.
Yeah.
Rom-com.
From
Basically, the best I can say is I don't think it's a great movie. I think that there are a lot of laughs for a first-time view, and you get to see Jennifer Lawrence full frontal nude.
Yeah, and back. I mean, all of it.
Yeah, Jennifer
it's
Lawrence has her clothes off for an
shadowy,
entire
you know?
scene in which she beats the shit out of a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah. No,
And
yeah,
it's
a good scene.
glorious. It's a very glorious scene.
I'll say, like, if you want just a fun laugh at the theater, like you should go see that. I think you won't have a bad time.
Yeah.
It's by no means a bad movie.
Right.
You might not remember it in 5 years, but you'll have a fun time at the theater.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's a big part of film.
Yeah. I mean, film is supposed to be entertaining, so it doesn't need to change your life.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
It can.
Yes, it.
If you've ever seen Alicia Cuthbert and The Girl Next Door, very similar film.
Yeah. Spider-Man still in theaters. Still recommend it.
I had a question for you, Reese. You're a big Oscars guy.
Yeah.
Do you think that film will get nominated for Best Picture?
Spider-Man? No.
You don't think it will?
No.
I think there's a chance that it will.
Maybe.
It'll not win. It'll
no.
100% not win. But I think that this has totally got the view of like, it came out early. It's not really what we normally do, but let's throw the animated film genre a bone.
I feel
and
like
give this movie a nomination.
Maybe.
And at the same time, we're also giving a nod to the superhero genre.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if come the beginning of the year, if we're
February.
not talking about this new Spider-Man animated film being a Best Picture nominee.
Maybe.
It's not going to win.
no.
100% not going to win.
I would say the first one might have had a better chance. And it
No,
didn't get nominated.
no theatrical release, no chance.
No, the first one went to theaters.
It did not. You told us just a couple weeks ago that this was the first Marvel movie to.
No, I
Be
said
an-
the first one was the first animated
Oh.
Marvel movie to go to theaters.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, this is a better movie though.
It is, yeah, but it's not as big of a surprise. I feel like the first one kind of came out of nowhere.
Well,
even though it was a
this
Spider-Man
one
film.
is it's like a fucking global success.
It is. It's huge.
It's a global success. It's a critical success. I think this has a classic Oscar feel. Is we nominate this for Best Picture to prove a
Yeah.
point. To prove a point.
I'll say if this one doesn't get
I don't
nominated,
think it deserves it. I'll be honest with you. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But like, you know how I feel about animated films. But as we sit here today, I think that this gets a nomination just so they can say, you know what, we nominated an animated film and we also nominated a Marvel film. And it's
also
the same movie.
It is a very diverse story too. Like Black Panther got nominated for. I'm not.
It's if you're gonna nominate like totally subjective here. If you're gonna nominate a fucking Marvel movie for Best Picture, this is the only one.
This is
the only one. Like it's actually a fucking movie.
Like better than like almost any MCU movie.
It is 100% better. It's probably the best Marvel thing I've ever seen outside of like to me like Deadpool and like Guardians of the Galaxy are like stoner comedies.
Yeah. No,
which I love.
It's great. I wouldn't be upset honestly if it was nominated.
I was just thinking that. Sorry to like derail your whole.
No, you're fine. But it's still in theaters. Go see it. Indiana Jones, I've heard is good. I'll probably see it this weekend.
I doubt it's good. I really doubt it's good.
Fun. I've heard it's fun. If you like,
I'm sure it's if you like the franchise.
Okay, here's my problem. I never saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because I thought it sounded stupid.
I'm pretty sure they just cut that one out. Like Shia LaBeouf is in that one. He's not in this one. He plays Indiana Jones' son.
I watched an opening sequence of that. I sat down to watch that movie when it came out on DVD, and that's one of the few movies that I couldn't do it. Like I saw an opening sequence with the bad acting by Shia LaBeouf. This is before he beat up somebody.
Yeah.
But like I saw the opening sequence and I was just like, this is really bad and I don't want to finish this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not great. And there's a lot of like CGI Harrison Ford stunts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even more in this new one, but I've heard the effects have obviously come a long way.
Yeah, but it's like just stop. Just don't, dude. Like just stop.
Yeah.
The last really good thing from Harrison Ford was the sequel to Blade Runner.
Oh, yes.
Which is fucking
He could have.
Is there anything else that we need to know for theaters?
Asteroid City still playing in larger cities
because Wes Anderson's a gangster.
Yeah, and I don't think we really need to sell that one. If you love Wes Anderson as much as we do, you're going to go see it. And if you don't, you won't. And that's
the thing. People that,
that's not a movie that needs to be sold. Like,
no. You'll find it if you like it, and otherwise, no. The people that don't know won't know.
Which, if you're one of my friends that's listening to this, you have to go to Fort Wayne, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, and
or sis.
Another one that's out. It's coming more and more theaters called Past Lives. It's getting a lot of buzz, like early Oscar buzz. It's a Korean film, Korean American film.
Is this playing in
Fort Wayne? I really want to try and go see it because I've heard nothing but like really incredible things.
I think that if the opportunity presents itself this Friday night, I'm down.
I'll see. Yeah,
I don't know that it will, but
I'll see if I can do that. That would be cool.
Our Friday nights around here have been a little more laxed at the later. Like I would be interested in seeing a Korean film in the theater.
Korean film.
It's like a drama, like a romantic drama.
Which
don't be expecting like thriller or.
Which do you have any more? Because I have a couple things to say.
That's it's
okay.
not a huge week for theater. That's the big stuff.
Just a couple more things I have to say. If you're not into film and you're more of a series person, you like to binge watch shit. The series Silo on Apple.
Yeah, I really want to watch that.
Just the last episode just dropped, and what's fucked up is
last episode already.
The entire first season is bingeable now. You can go to Apple TV and watch the entire first season in one sitting. The very first episode, I called it the best pilot episode I'd ever seen. It had you believing that something was going on, and like in this episode, they completely fucking turn your head around. Everything you thought you knew was incorrect. Everything about it was perfect.
Welcome to dystopia.
This is a perfect first season for a very, very good series. Definitely watch this series. And then also, I wanted to mention I should have done it in the What Have You Been Watching? I've been getting into. I basically went to Letterboxd one day after I first joined and was just like look at everything, sort by highest rating.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I came across was a series. It's a Korean series called Prison Playbook, about a professional baseball player who lives in Korea who is just about to go to the United States to join the Boston Red Sox when his sister, while getting raped, gets rescued by him, and in the midst of this rescue, accidentally murders the dude who's raping his sister. And so he ends up getting sentenced to a year in prison. And so the entire series is like kind of like a Korean Shawshank Redemption, only a little bit lighter with some comedy. It's like I don't know, like remember that Orange is the New Black series they did? I think it's a very much like upticked version of that series.
Okay. Nice.
Very, very, very good. It's now I will say each episode is an hour and a half long.
Jeez.
So each episode is a fucking movie. So like it's a bear to get through, but each episode is super entertaining.
I'm sure
and it's on Netflix. It's super like it's in everybody's home. If you have Netflix, you can watch this.
What's the name of the series again?
It's called Prison Playbook.
Prison Playbook.
Yeah.
How many episodes are there?
I think there are 2 seasons, and I want to say they're like 16 to 18 episodes, something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in right now. Every episode is like a movie, and everyone has been good. So
Well, I mean,
So-
I have
so-
not
so
ever
basically-
seen any Korean thing disappoint. I even watch disaster movies. I'm
No,
like,
no,
"God
so,
damn, there's a good disaster movie.
So it's fun because one of the prison guards is a guy who was a teammate of this dude early in his career. And the dude who was a prison guard was actually a much highly rated like prospect.
Right.
And like his career kind of flamed out, while this other dude who was like kind of like more of the underdog, his career blossomed. He became a superstar. And so a lot of the great scenes are the interactions between the prison guard
for
and now the convict.
For sure.
Just really, really good shit. Really, really good. Like everything. Like just
Nice.
good story, good camera work, everything
Nice.
you would ever want.
Right on.
K-Series, Prison Playbook, check it out.
Nice.
All right, well, that's going to do it for
Yeah.
this episode. Join us in 2 weeks for Raise the Red Lantern as the feature.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to be talking shit about Goonies.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Peace out.
that's a good